Todd Alstrom.
Oh, hey, this thing on?
Oh my God, you got virtual shit going on in your head?
Cyberspace, right?
Oh my God. This is a virtual beer festival.
A virtual beer fest.
You're all in, buddy.
Crazy. How's it going?
Cheers, my friend. You ready to go on this journey?
I am. Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to our first virtual beer fest, our first virtual extreme beer fest. It's also our, I think it's like beer fest number 72, I think, and the 18th annual extreme beer fest. Although we've done 19 because we did that one year where we did them in Boston and Los Angeles.
That was fun.
Yep, but the first virtual one.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready too. And we've, I don't know how many people we have on right now, but last time I checked, it was like getting closer to like 700 or so. They were coming on. So
cool.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm awesome. I got to thank my wife, Mariah, who helped figure out all the IT stuff. I remember the first time she told me about Beer Advocate. She's like, Sam, there's this website. They're rating beers, and 90 minutes rated #1, and they want to do an interview with you. I'm like, there's a beer website? That's so cool. And that's how we first started chatting with each other.
That's right.
What year do you think that was? 97?
Yeah, it was definitely late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But shout out to you, Dogfish Head, for your support as always. I think this is I don't know how many you've supported now, but I think 2009 was the first one, and you did so you did. I got some little notes here actually. You get 12 years, 13 extremes, 2 IPAs, and 1 Funk Boston. Thank you.
That's nice, and we've always had that shared mission, Todd, of advocating for people to help us push the boundaries, not just the brewers that make the beer, but the drinkers to say, I want to try new. And that's been the journey that we've been on. And EBF, I think, is the best stage in the world for brewers saying, here's how I, threw my freak flag. And I'd love to hear your feedback. So I love this festival for that reason.
Oh, well, thanks. It loves you too. We love you. But so thank you again for your support, though. And big shout out to Halftime.
Oh, yeah.
Our buddies out in New York killed it. So they sent packages. Yeah, they sent packages out to over 2,750 attendees in 29 states and DC. That is quite the feat. So, but big shout out to the entire team. So, thank you guys.
And that's one of the things that, Todd, as we talk to the brewers that we're drinking the beers of over the next 2 days, I'm excited to hear Halftime has been amazing entrepreneurial mercurial on reacting to the COVID moment.
Yep.
And this festival is an example of how we're all navigating the COVID moment together as a beer community. But I'm psyched to hear from the brewers as we're sipping the beers about what as they went through that moment, what they learned, shit that they can't wait to get rid of as a result of COVID, and shit that they're like, hey, that actually is cool, and I'm going to keep doing that in my business. So it's going to be fun to have these conversations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We got a great lineup for everyone. It's a lighter lineup tonight, I think. It's 5 beers tomorrow, 6, and there's some heavy hitters tomorrow, so it's going to be fun. But
yeah, ABV wise, but extreme wise, we got equally exotic beers for sure both nights.
Yeah, and we're about to dig in with one of yours very soon here. So
which will be cool. I gotta text my bride because, like an asshole, I brought a knife to a gunfight, and I think I got every single beer of every brewery except my own. I was so excited to try some strange. So while we're chatting, I'm gonna text Mariah and ask for a beer. I'm listening.
Hold on. I would shout out to our people backstage here, our fest team. Probably Britt and Claire. They're behind the scenes right now, making sure Sam and I stay on track. Big shout out to them.
Thank you, Britt. Thank you, Claire.
So they're going to share something out here in a second. Here we go.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah. So for those of you new to Beer Advocate, which is very forum heavy, look at the forums. So this went out today, the everything you need to know about the fest. This is a great place to start. It's pinned at the top of the fest forum, and this will kind of give you all the times, the link to the live stream, which is kind of split, so you could also see the forum. And it also goes through what we're tasting and when on both days. And if you click on those links, each one, that is the virtual booth. So unlike our in-person events where we'd actually, you and I would walk the fest floor and go talk to a brewer at a booth and drink their beers and hang out, we've got forum threads. So go there because there's some really good videos that the brewers put together, links off to their merch if you want to continue to support them beyond this event. And also post your questions. So we'll be taking specifically for tonight. You could do it for tomorrow too. Post your questions for the brewers today, and maybe your question will make the screen. There you go. Thank you.
Ready to watch this in real time? I'm going to call Mariah because I desperately need.
Where is she? Is she in the house?
Hi, sweet tart. I just texted you. I forgot. I have every beer except Hazy-O. Would you bring me a Hazy-O, sweetie?
I can't believe you forgot your own beer.
Yes.
You're the best. Oh, she hung up on me. What does that mean? She loves me?
I don't know. That's all you, man.
She's bringing me a beer.
Well,
Todd, fellow masshole like me, where we grew up and where we've held a shit ton of EBFs. What's it like for you and Candace to be left coasters now?
It's cool. I mean, I love SoCal. So, I mean, we're a couple of blocks from Venice Beach. We're in Marina del Rey, pretty much on the Venice border. I love it. Can't complain. It was like beautiful, sunny out. It was a little chilly. I think it dipped down to like around, I don't know. What's the temperature right now? Let me look it up on my phone. Yeah. So it's getting a little chilly right now. It's 57. So that's like frigid. You got to put a hoodie on, maybe even some gloves. But I love it out in SoCal, yeah. Oh, so just got to know we have around 1,000 people viewing right now. So
nice. Well, welcome aboard, guys. Cheers, cheers, cheers. And I hear my best girl bringing me a beer, which is awesome to kick this fest off. You'd think I would have the first beer. I got so many great beers in my cooler right now.
Yeah,
here it comes.
All right, you got your Hazy-O?
Yep.
Hurry up, man.
I'm ready.
I know Britt's going like, well, Sam, please get the Hazy-O.
Hi, Mariah.
Hey.
Yes, that's right. The women are smarter, as the Grateful Dead said.
And have more access to beer.
And have more access to beer, says Mariah. All right, you ready to do the first?
I think we got to get the screen up, but we can crack them right now. Ready? I'm going to crack mine.
1, 2.
There you go.
Yep. I love the 8-pixel or whatever the fuck it's called graphics.
Yeah, it's old school. Bert and I were looking at fonts, and I was like immediately drawn to. It's got to be like 8-bit video game style. So everyone, grab your Hazy-Os.
Raise them up. Cheers, everyone. Here we go.
So you know what?
We're
not at a fest. You can go ahead and pour into that fest cup if you want. But, there's no 2-ounce rules here. I'm going all the way in. And no one's going to bust me for my overpour.
Do this. You be you. No one's by the booth saying, simmer down.
Who's going to check me, right? There we go. Nope. So, Hazy-O, Sam.
Yep. I sent you, Todd, one of the first experimental batches like I often do if we're thinking of distributing a beer and getting your feedback. And warmed my heart when you said you love this beer. So I'll do my brewer's spiel on this beer. And I want to start and end with thanking our brewmaster, Mark Safrick, who went on this journey to do this beer with us. And, our thing was Dogfish is when we opened, we were the smallest brewery in America, brewing 12 gallons at a time in 1995, and a system made out of converted homebrew kegs. And our goal, we set, I wrote in the business plan, we will commit to making the majority of beers that we sell outside the Rheinheitsgebot using culinary ingredients. And that was true. We were a 12-gallon brewery inside a restaurant in Rehoboth, Delaware, and it's still true today. The majority of Dogfish Head's beers are non-Rheinheitsgebot, and this is an example. And we've also worked hard to recognize there's an awesome overlap between the sort of active lifestyle world and craft beer. People are like, oh, calories beer. What does that have to do with active lifestyle? And I know, Todd, you joined us on the Jandy Quenchy journey a couple of years ago, very successfully. I think
I did. I dropped all the way down to like I dropped a lot of weight, man. It was like
from what to what?
Oh, I dropped about 75 pounds in total in a short period of time, but it was like pushing 250 at one point. I dropped all the way down to like 176, I think it was, and I've managed to. I put a little bit more on. Yeah. Mostly muscle, to be honest, because I'm ripped now. But yeah, I got abs and all that shit. So, but yeah, I managed to keep it off. But that was a great experience. Yeah, that beer was awesome.
Yeah, and so Sequench is now the best-selling sour in America. We're proud of that. And like 2 or 3 years ago, I was reading like what was going off in the coffee culture, barista culture, and oat milk as this really foamy, silky plant-based milk. And thinking about we've been doing unfiltered IPAs for over a decade with Squall. I was like, maybe we can marry those two worlds. So we reached out to our friends at Elmhurst.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and it's not like oats and New England IPAs. That's a new thing,
No.
Yeah.
Oats been like giving haze to New England or hazy, whatever you want to call them, since the style was born. Props to my friends at Lawson's and props to my friends at Hetty, so for us, we found like an aha moment when we started infusing full-on oat milk into a beer, and we're like, okay, this works. So now we're for the first time ever going national with a hazy IPA, and the oat milk really gives it that kind of silky, soft mouthfeel. So the beer drinks like 5 ABV, super soft mouthfeel. Drinks like 5 ABV, but it's 7.1, and it's got like your quintessential, juicy, hazy IPA hops. But then we have a couple of hops in there that are a little different, that throw a little bit of coconut, like coconut, earthy, woodsy note underneath the tropical notes in this beer.
That's all. I mean, I love the beer, and I know you just released it nationally. I post the press release up this week, and I got to hit you with some feedback here. You ready?
I am, but I got to say, we intentionally we want to do 2 really special things for EBF, and we knew this beer was going to be in trucks last week for the whole country, but we knew like in terms of the average drinker, it's going to be hard to find until about 3 weeks from now. So this is a toast to the 1,000-ish people. You guys are among the first.
Yes, I'm the first. Yep.
Drinking this, which is pretty cool. But what were you going to say, Todd? Sorry.
Oh no, some people just thought it's funny. It's as if they've never had a Dogfish Head beer before. They're kind of like, this is just a gimmick. This is just like whatever. What do you say to those people that haven't been following you for for decades,
25 years?
Yeah,
people that are younger than our brewery, I would just say, go into Dogfish with an open mind, as I would hope you would at any brewery of any scale in any era. And I feel like our bona fides are real, and you can do that research in terms of how long we've been doing sours and fruit infused beers, or exotic IPAs, imperial IPAs. If you do your research, if you love this community, we hope you'll recognize that, beer, it's subjective. Everyone's palate is subjective, but your palate can't gauge the scale of a brewery. And so don't judge a brewery by its scale, judge it by its liquid.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, look at this. Someone made you a Willy Wonka meme. That's you.
I'm going to take a photo of that. I'll make my children.
So that's actually in the forum thread, because people are like, you're basically like the Willy Wonka beer, just, whatever.
That warms my heart.
It's kind of funny.
That warms my heart.
Yeah.
Take me back. So I got to talk about the early days of Dogfish as starting at the smallest brewery in the country and focused on doing beers with non-expected ingredients. What got you and your brother excited to conceive an extreme beer fest? So think of that era. It was late 90s, best-selling craft beer styles when EBF first started were things like ambers and pale ales and, seasonal beers. You remember like the conversations you guys were having about
I remember
building a little fest in the Cyclorama?
Yeah, we had like, we were drinking beers. All these back then was like the imperial stuff was coming out. So lots of like imperial stouts and IPAs, and people are starting to battle if we should even like use the word imperial with these things. They're really, or is it a double or whatever? And then we started seeing brewers using more interesting and exotic ingredients on top of these beers. And we're like, we should create a fest where we kind of explore, brewers that are really doing something different. And eventually came up with like, how do we define this? And that's when I came up with the slogan, basically extreme beer is a beer that pushes the boundaries of brewing. And that's it. Yeah. It's not tied to an ABV or a specific style.
Yeah. And I think we were getting that you guys first, and then we were getting that festival launch. And then I think Wall Street Journal did a story on like Utopias and Worldwide Stout. And it was the first story that called out the concept of extreme brewing.
Yeah, that was another beer that kind of inspired all of us to do this event too, is Utopias, but also the one that came before that, the Millennium.
Yep.
So I actually got a bottle over here of it still.
Nice.
I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to drink it, but it's cool. It's got Jim's signature on it and all that stuff. It's good. In a wooden bottle.
Highly collectible.
Yeah, very.
Nice. So I hope people enjoy Hazy-O, and it's like I said, heading out trucks coast to coast right now. What do you, Todd, while we're starting with a hazy, which is the best selling or fastest growing beer style in America. So for context, those of you guys that just love your beer but don't give a shit about what's selling in distribution, us brewers, at least those that distribute have to watch that stuff. And I will say, right now is a moment when seltzers are on fire, and seltzers in 2020 grew almost 200% over 2019.
Yeah.
But the fastest growing beer style in America is not the biggest, like light lager that the big breweries brew. It's hazy IPAs, which is a testament to the small brewers.
Yeah, we still see growth as far as like adding new beers.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're going to take a question here.
Sweet.
Yep, up on the screen for you, Sam.
And you too?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
At what point is the oat milk added?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and I'll say that we do add it on the hot side, but it's not in the mash. We do add it end of boil and in the whirl. So it's a late hot side addition for oat milk for us. Now we actually, so the logo shows this bullseye that shows the 4 formats. You can see like a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
And so the kind of hops is the arrow, and the bullseye are the 4 formats of oats.
And there,
so it does have naked oats.
Yeah.
It has malted oats, and it has rolled oats, and then oat milk are the 4 formats. So 3 out of the 4 formats are part of the mash, and then the oat milk is added late.
Very cool.
Great question. Must be a home brewer.
We got another one. How much oat milk is in the brew?
How do you think if obviously beer by weight is going to be mostly water, but I'll say it's a significant enough fraction of the ingredients that it impacts the DGM, which is the margin. Like when you think about the cost of the beer, it's a double-digit percentage of the cost of the beer. So I know I'm talking more business speak than brewer speak. So I will say it's sacks and sacks of oat milk per batch. So it's a very meaningful component of it. And it took us about 1.5 years to dial in the right ratios of the oat milk.
Oh, wow. Okay. We got one more question up here for you from New York. Do you think you'll ever make something more extreme than the chicha beer?
So, Todd, you and I have brewed a lot with our good chum, Brian Selders, the most tenured brewer at Dogfish. And so, like I said, we've been fucking around with oat milk for over 1 year. And Hazy-O is the first one that we're like commercializing with oat milk nationally. But we got a beer coming out in March that we're super proud of, with Brian Selders and I brewing it together, called Brian, These Bones Are Bananas.
That's
and
awesome.
It's probably the first oat milk stout brewed with both pureed bananas and bovine bone marrow.
Wow.
So our goal is to, within 3 years, make it one of the top 10 bone marrow infused beers in America.
I think
It's a
you'll be
noble
number one.
You think I got a,
yeah,
you think I got a shot?
One, yeah.
So yeah,
So what's
come
gonna be
down.
like a broth, right? Like a beer broth, right?
Yeah.
So we can just
Yeah.
so we can just basically drink it like one of those. You know, you can get those little bone broth things. You can just drink that instead of eating a whole meal.
Like at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, that we're canning that in early March. COVID willing, we deplore the viewers to do a little trip to coastal Delaware and buy a 4-pack of Brian These Bones Are Bananas.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it. Tell Brian I said hey. He's not watching. Tell him I said hey.
I'll send you a can. Who's watching?
Brian, tell him hey. I haven't seen that guy for ages. All right, Massachusetts. I got a ton of banana from Hazy-O. Is that from the yeast, or is this taste buds whack?
Yeah. No. There's definitely so. As I said, we have some of the expected hops you'd have in Hazy-O, but then we have some varieties that do throw. I would say, in addition to tropical components, I'd say coconut's the highest, the earthy components, and then yes, there is some definitely banana, almost like hefe, like clovey notes down below the tropical. So we worked really hard. While we have the 4 formats of oats, I think we have 8 different varieties of hops, both on the hot side and the dry hopping side, and we wanted to make it as unique on the hop profile as we did on the oat and fermentable style.
So I'm looking over here. The questions keep on coming in. I got to moderate them. I got to get a moderator on this tomorrow. Right. Here's one from Pennsylvania. Is Hazy-O a limited edition? Or it's going to be regular? You going to do it again?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and the answer is this is a year-round, national distributed beer for us. In fact, as we put the recipe together and cost it out and stuff, we're like, all right, on this one, let's try and make this super approachable, not just from a flavor perspective, but even pricing. So this is our big, honestly, Hazy-O in the 25-year history of our company is the best bang for your buck, like ABV to cost side, because as we send it out nationally, it'll be like $9.99 a 6-pack, but 7.1 ABV. So we wanted this to be a beer that people are like, holy shit, this is my go-to hazy IPA that I can buy, a 6-pack every week. So we intentionally said, let's make this approachable from a pricing structure, and it's going to be a year-round beer with us, right in the same, in the same way that 60 Minute or Sequench or Slightly Mighty is.
Cool. I got a question for you. So the sample you sent me,
bunch
2 samples, one with a white label, and
then the big 16 ounce.
Yeah, then one with this label, 16 ounce. So why did you go down to 12?
So good question, Todd, because when we first trialed it, we brewed it with and canned it on a little canning line in Rehoboth that Brian Selders runs. And that one only runs 16 ounces, very slow. It's a small canning line from our good friends at Wild Goose. It's a beautiful, quality-oriented canning line, but low volume. And then when we said, let's take this thing nationally, we brought it over to Milton, where we have a rotary Crohn's, like world-class, bigger canning line, and that thing's set up to do 12 ounce. And it's weird. I'm sure the 1,000-ish people watching tonight know this, but geographically across America, there are different states that orient more towards, 16 ounce love, and different states that orient more towards 12 ounce. So it was a crap.
16 out here, man. It's all 16 ounce out here.
It is?
Yeah, big time. Yep.
And Cali was one of the last states to go off for cans in general, because the coast forever said you can't have cans on the beach. So California, it seems like, from my perspective, doing, selling beer for 25 years, was relatively late to embracing cans.
I got a quick shout out to F Barber, one of our mods. He's actually watching this too, I believe. He said he's trying to keep up as much as possible with the moderating of because new questions are coming in.
Yeah.
And some of them are from new users and they require like a quick approval.
Yeah.
Once you post so many times, you can just post freely. But he's in there helping me moderate. So this is awesome. So.
Yep. So we apologize if folks are asking questions and we can't get to them. And the other thing is, Todd, I want to be respectful of the time allotment for each brewer tonight, not just us. So tell me when Dogfish is done so we can meet another brewer.
Well, Britt just said we got about 10 minutes.
Sweet.
And that was 3 minutes ago.
7. I'm good at math.
So from Connecticut, my spouse and I both identified this as a Dogfish Head IPA right away from the aroma. So there you go. That's good. Was that a house yeast thing or what's going on? Or
yeah, no, that's great to know that there's a house terroir as you drink our IPAs. And again, we've been proud to be making, focused on IPAs since we came up with 90 Minute in 1999, actually April Hop in 97. But yes, this does have the yeast DNA of other Dogfish beers. But to be honest, we have 2 different strains. That's one area that we're not super, transparent on because there's some proprietary information there. But between our whole cadre of different IPAs, we focus on 2 strains. And this is a strain that we've used before for IPAs as well.
Very cool.
What's your favorite walk to brewery from where you live?
Well, it's a mile away, and that would be Firestone Walker, the propagator.
You have a Firestone Walker within a mile away from you?
Yep, it's right down the road.
Is that the one with like the little the 305 or whatever, the little speakeasy behind the brew pub? I've heard about that.
No, it's a full on, it's a small brewery, but it's a big restaurant attached to it, and they got a gift shop and everything. But it's right here in Venice, Marina del Rey. Yep. Yeah.
That's cool. Got a lot of respect for that brewery, and Matt, their brewmaster, is one of the best in the biz.
Agreed. Here's another one. Arizona. Can you confirm that Hazy-O pairs well with pepperoni pizza? I think someone's maybe eating some pizza right now.
I can neither confirm or deny. I don't think I've had it with pepperoni. I just had it with wings at the restaurant I was at before we started tonight. But it's also really nice. Any like spicy food. So yes, I will say it's going to be great with pepperoni pizza because again, that oat milk kind of tamps down anything. So I'm probably not alone as a IPA lover that when you have a certain hazies that you have a lot of, you can sometimes get like a heartburn.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe that's just getting old, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So I do think that with the oat milk addition, I've never had that situation where I do think the recipe of Hazy-O is such that not only does it tamp down spice from like a pepperoni pizza or hot wings, but it also keeps you from, when you're having a few of them, I think, from having that sort of heartburn thing going on. I have to think it's the high ratio of the oat milk that's in it.
Yep, good answer. We got one more question. We're going to wrap it up, and they're going to move on to the next beer.
Nice.
Here we go. From New Jersey. Hey, cheers, guys. Tell us your favorite or craziest EBF story. All right, so
you go first.
I don't think there's
too many.
Well, we could do one, the Captain Lawrence one.
I do it.
Remember that?
Of course I do. There were three hotels that you guys built a relationship with.
Yeah, and the one closest to the Cyclorama was this very popular hotel amongst the gay community, and basically Scott was
it had the most famous and well-regarded gay sports bar.
Yes, right downstairs. Yep. So basically, he was staying there. I guess he got
a bunch of us.
He got hammered. Yeah, he and his wife were staying there. Scott from Captain Lawrence. He got hammered. He woke up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, and he ended up walking out the door of his hotel room into the hallway naked without his key. The door closed behind him. He couldn't get in. I guess his wife wasn't waking up or something. He couldn't get back in. And he ended up having to go all the way down. I forgot what floor he was on. He had to go all the way down the bottom to get a key.
Twice. He goes down, and so he's
twice. Yeah.
He goes out in the hallway. He thinks it's the bathroom, so he pees in the hallway. Tries to get back in his room.
That's right.
He tries to get back in the room. It's locked. His wife's passed out, and so he's like, she doesn't pick up. He gets in the elevator. He goes down naked, and the guy greeting him at the check-in's like, "What's up?" and gives him a key. And then he goes back up. The key doesn't work. He comes back down the elevator. Now there's 3 guys at the check-in waiting for him, and now he gets a real key. They were super cool.
Yeah, that's right. I had to go twice. I remember seeing him the next day at the fest. He was just like the saddest guy on planet Earth. He was just like, his head was down the whole time. And then we heard the story, and then it spread like wildfire. So cool. And the
next year, he brewed a beer called "Meet Me at the Fritz."
Yeah, that's right. Meet Me at the Fritz.
For the EBF.
That was hilarious. All right.
True story.
All right, we're gonna we got Anthony from Other Half joining us soon.
Nice.
Yep, we're gonna take a little break, but break out your small laced and space IPA. Get it ready.
What's the logo look like on that bad boy?
It looks like that.
Let me see what you got.
It's a black label with red.
Nice.
Small red print.
Laced in space?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready too. All right. We are back.
Hey guys.
Hey Anthony, how's it going?
Good to see you, Anthony.
How you doing? Was good. It was good.
Everything's good.
Had a little bit of technical difficulties.
It happens.
It's all right. We got beer. It doesn't matter.
I have an echo right now. Just trying to get these earphones working.
Where are you at right now, Anthony? What town?
Huh?
Where are you at? What town?
Oh, I'm in Brooklyn right now. I'm in Bushwick.
Nice. What are your local restaurant laws there like right now?
What were you saying? What was the question?
What are your local restaurant laws like right now? Can you go out inside restaurants?
Right. No inside right now. They're about to start inside on Valentine's Day, the official day to start inside again, 25%.
We haven't had inside since the beginning. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, word.
I just want to do I just got to do a really quick thank you to you, Anthony, and everyone at Other Half for jumping in at the last minute. You know, we had Burley Oak, who was supposed to be joining us, and they just ran into issues that were beyond everyone's control. And you guys, like within 2 days, I mean, I reached out to you guys in 2 days. We're able to turn it around, can this, get it sent to halftime, and get it sent out to everyone.
So this beer could not be fresher.
It's probably one of the. It's without a doubt probably the freshest one in the box.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate the opportunity. You know, once I saw the email, I was like, let's go, let's do this. Of course,
it's tasting great too.
Thank you.
I got to ask though So I mean, I don't get access to Other Half beers that often. Usually when I'm out that way, like last time we're out there for like our IPA, whatever in Brooklyn, I'll try them when I find them. Tell us about this beer though, and how it's different from. I guess it's got a bigger sibling as well, right?
Yeah. So it's like a 3-part story. So it's a blend of 2 of our like single hop double IPAs that we do. So Space Diamonds, which is an all Galaxy double IPA, and then all Citra Everything, or we call it ACE, which is just like one of our main Citra ones. We've done a bunch of variants of it. And then, you know, we had the idea to just put the 2 together and call it Laced in Space. So when you check the label, it's got the ACE big on it to just kind of emphasize the all Citra Everything in it. And then we made Laced in Space, DDH Laced in Space, and then we've been doing a lot of small versions of all of these double IPAs that we do, from the single house stuff to the blended house stuff. So we were like, let's make a lower like single IPA version of it.
That's great. And, I love that you're. I'm glad you're looking at that. So obviously out of demand.
Yeah, but also just the want for it. I mean, the double IPAs for a while people were just more on it, but it's like since the whole pandemic has kind of started, we've been really happy with the responses from the single IPAs, which is something that we wanted to move to do more. We always did them, but we kind of upped production on having more of them on a regular basis, and people have been buying, like really responding to it, and just enjoying it a lot more.
That's great. Is it something you think you're just going to kind of ramp up, continue to do more of?
We're going to continue to do more of that. We've been trying to put out more lagers as well.
Lagers,
more lagers than ever. So,
nice.
And they've been, we had a series of beers that was kind of a joke because we couldn't move lagers at all for a while. Obviously, people would not buy them. So the first one we made another one. The first, all of us drank it. All the brewers go through tons of cases of it. But we did crickets first, kind of as a joke, like it's gonna be crickets when we drop this, and then we did tumbleweeds after. Polite clap. So just kind of like joke a little bit.
Those are awesome names.
Oh, we're gonna have to get some of you. We just came out with we did one called Poetry Snaps. As well, and then we just did an Italian clap, which is a collaboration with us and Crack Brewing, they're in Padova, Italy.
Nice.
What was that one called?
Italian clap instead of polite clap. Because they were the ones, they told us that whenever you're in Italy, everybody claps on the plane when it lands. So Exactly. Little slow golf clap. Little slow golf clap.
So, Anthony, you guys now have a number of locations. Where's this one canned out of?
Small Ace in Space was canned in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So we have, if you look at the can, like we have like little symbols to identify where each one was canned. So the circle is for
where's that at?
The circle's on the side of the can.
Yeah.
So that's Brooklyn. There's a pentagon for Finger Lakes, and then a triangle for DC.
Nice.
Good to know.
And are you guys looking to do more locations or build, bigger in the location you guys are in? Obviously everything's a shit show for COVID era, but when you guys think the next few years of folks that are tuned in and are hoping to get more access to your beers, where do you think your expansion will come from?
We don't know. I mean, everything that's happened so far is just kind of playing it by ear and seeing, it's a mix of, we did like the camp pop-ups, and then opportunities presented themselves that were worth it. I mean, it's right now it's a lot. The DC and the Domino Park, which is like a location in Williamsburg, where we have it's a new one that we're still finishing the build out on. So we're open there for like pickup and to go. And then we have a couple like seats outside for when the weather's nice. Obviously not right now, all the snow on the ground. But we still have to finish that, and we just kind of play it by ear after that. Those two projects kind of got green lighted at the same time. There were some holdups, and then both opportunities and everything kind of presented itself at the same time. So we've been rolling with those, and we got DC really going first and up and running, and then the Domino Park location. So Domino Park still has to be finished, and then we have to wait till things open up to really see what's happening with it. We already started brewing on the 5-barrel in there. But yeah, we don't have any like set plans yet. Talk about things, and anything that really could make sense for as well as, it's a decision of taking care of the customers more than anything else. If an opportunity presents itself and it's good and it's someplace where the customers will really enjoy it, and we can take care of them, and that's really the motivation behind it. So,
Nice. Well said.
Yeah, I think isn't it Daniel? You guys brought in Daniel from 8-Bit, didn't you, for DC?
Yeah, he's down in DC right now. He came on a while ago. He's been great, crushing it down there.
Yeah, he told me he came out for our IPA Fest in Brooklyn. He said that's how the connection.
Yeah, we went out and we got kind of lit up. It was a good time. We hung out with the 8-Bit guys and all that when they were out here, and me and Jared's the homie of mine, he's the general manager at Other Half. We're New Yorkers, and we like to have a lot of fun. And so anybody that comes in, when we have the time and we can spend time with them, we got to turn up. We spent some time with them and had some fun. And then the opportunity came up. He came out to DC. Yeah,
that's great. Good guys too. I still can't believe they drove all the way from California.
Wow, they were wild.
Yeah, they just all hopped in the car and just. Yeah, it's awesome.
It was awesome. I had a great time. We had a great time with them. So,
you guys follow? We're gonna take a question from the forum.
Okay.
From Oregon.
Oh, how does centrifuge filtration work with the hazy brews? I imagine that would cause them to separate. I mean, yeah, that's as basis. That is the exact science behind it. You spin the liquid, separating the solids.
Solids drop out. Yeah.
The centrifuge is good because it allows you to have a controlled filtration. It's not, there's when you use like plate filters and other things, it's just you have a setting, and then that's it. It strips everything out. This allows us to kind of pinpoint. There's levels of turbidity, which is basically the clarity of the liquid that we can set it to. So, we can spin a Pilsner through it and have it crystal clear, or we can spin it set it to a percentage where it has more particulate in it and more haze in it, but without having too much like hot particulate or too much yeast that can lead to off flavors or hot burn or yeast bite. So it gives us the ability to really pinpoint where we want it. So if we want to set at this, we try it, it's still got too much sediment in it, it's still a little bit too heavy on the palate, then we can dial it back a little bit and then leave a little bit more solids and take a little bit more solids out and kind of tune it in. So
very cool. There you go. We got another one from Pennsylvania. Oh, is there a particular glass for this brew? I think it's something we should probably answer before we open it up, but it's all right.
Whatever you want to drink out of. We don't like. In general, we don't dictate what people should drink out of.
Anthony, do you prefer, even with a single IPA like this, do you guys make a recommendation on drinking out of the can versus any kind of glass? Like,
no, not really. We want people to enjoy it however they want. I mean, when I'm like at home a lot, my glassware varies. Sometimes I'll literally drink out of like a rocks glass. And then sometimes, I got like this imperial pint glass for this. And then sometimes I'm drinking out of a tiku. Sometimes I'm drinking out of a snifter. So now we don't particularly point anywhere. That was always fun for me, drinking beers. Just whatever glassware I reach into the cabinet and I want to drink out of at that moment. So.
You guys, I'll take another one here. New Jersey. What are your favorite types of beer to make?
The brewery, we at the brewery in general, we like making IPAs. We also have a lot of fun making the lagers that we make. When we started, we were making a lot of Belgian styles, which, we're going to try with this 5-barrel. We're going to try to go back to and see how we do it.
Oh, really?
I think we need to get back to that. Yeah.
That's exciting.
We talked about doing a couple table beers, maybe doing a Berliner Weiss, maybe doing a couple other things. Doing like a very traditional like Berliner Weiss and doing some fun with it, some alterations, some treatments on it. As far as personally, I love brewing table beers. Like Saisons are definitely my favorite beers to brew. There's a lot of, it's like you have to hit the mark with the subtleties, but there's still a lot to play around with. Just yeast from the yeast profiles. To using weird ingredients and stuff, I love table beers.
Those who might not be familiar with the term, explain to us what you think, what you consider a table beer.
Farmhouse ales, so it could be a grisette, a saison. I've attempted to make a table version of a bière de garde, and it did not come out good, personally, homebrewing, but farmhouse beers, low ABV.
Yep.
People would say under 5. I definitely try to shoot under like 4.5 for table beer. So
cool. And I got another question for you. You guys follow the thread in the Mid-Atlantic Forum at all?
I don't. I haven't been in it in a while. I'll be lying if I said I did, but I used to follow it quite a bit. It was the beginning of other half. I mean, I was following it before. I've had this discussion with you, Todd. Like I was really heavy on Beer Advocate, getting into beer, and then when I started working for the brewery, I stopped following it for a while. I know that there are people at the brewery that follow it a lot, but I have not dived into it a lot. It's definitely fun going in there. I love going.
I think it's tamed down quite a bit. It's given us a lot of grief over the years, but it's good. It's entertaining.
Is it the most contentious geographic region thread out there? It's
one of the most let's say engaged. Everyone's engaged in it. So
I think when you have New Englanders and like Mid-Atlantic people and anything, it's pretty aggressive. So there's a lot of aggressive conversations in there.
Yeah.
As a New Yorker, I love it. I'm good with it all. Like the good, the bad, the ugly. I love it.
Yep.
You want to take another? Yeah, we'll take another question from the forum if we got one. This one, there we go. From New York.
It sounds like a supercharged version of Sam's old hockey set. Also, how do you continue to innovate the hazy IPA game?
That's a good question.
I don't want to talk too much in detail about it and get it wrong. Sam Richardson has we have a video out there that explains a little bit more, but it's just a combination of different hop products that we use together, specific combo that, high density hop charge. So we make it's our specific set of things that we do to make that. And so Sam just kind of came up with it instead of trying to explain in the long term how it is, because it's a bit to explain, like using all the different hop products and you don't want to explain that every time you have to make a beer. Just saying HDHC is a lot easier for us than to write that in or to explain it every time. As far as innovating the hazy IPA game, I mean, we, like every other brewery that's making hazy beers, there's new hop products, there's new hops, there's trying different yeasts, playing around with different things in the grain bill. I think we're all just trying to have fun with it at the same time, make something that tastes good for the customers. I think it's the way that all of us got here at the same time together. And I think that we just continue to push and pay attention and talk to other breweries. I think that I think people think it's more of a secret than it is, but people are pretty open and pretty transparent with everything that they're doing. We share a lot of information with people. Other breweries share a lot of information with us. We try things that other people recommend. People try things that we recommend. It's just, it's a pretty great industry in that term, that people do really show that love across the board, and everybody wants to grow on their own and help people grow that are around them. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. It looks like we got about 8 more minutes. I like the format. This is all new for us, but I like pulling up the questions from the forum, and I'm watching them come in right now. So if you don't mind, maybe we could throw another one up. From Arizona.
Taste orange on the back end. More of the zest and the juices of the orange. Are we in the flavor vicinity? I mean, yeah, we're all in the flavor vicinity right now. There's definitely orange character in there for sure. Definitely between the mix of the Citra and the Galaxy, and also the grain bill, you definitely get like, this one has more of like I would say more of like a navel or a Caracara orange kind of flavor on it.
That's good.
Anthony, I got one for you. We talked a lot about the pivots breweries have had to make in the COVID moment. A fun project that you guys have led on was Freaky Friday. Talk about that, and is that something that will live on post the COVID moment?
100%. This is something we had talked about this for years. We had talked about doing some crazier versions of it, but sometimes you get a little overexcited and you're like, this isn't feasible. But we're coming back to some stuff. But yeah, for sure. I mean, we work with a lot of people. We've done a lot of collaborations with a lot of breweries. We've worked with a lot of people, and I think it's we just want to have fun and brew other people's beers. Like, you brew our beer, let's brew your beer. Like, a lot of the collaborative things that we do are very, very loose and very easy. And I think that's it's just fun. It's just more way to connect with the breweries and have fun with things, and have them make the beers. Like, I think that's cool. The whole idea of where I was just talking about transparency. It's like, we're all exchanging recipes that we all make, and just to show that, like, these are like friends, and the industry is really like this open-ended thing where we really get to have fun. We want to make that 60-minute, man. What's happening? What's popping?
I just looked it up though. I mean, this beer's
let's go.
It's got a 91. So I mean,
a lot of us want to make that 60-minute IPA. Let's go.
I got to do a fun beer with you guys and Sam like years ago, and there's only like a couple barrels of it. I don't think you guys ever released it, but we made like.
Now we drank it though. We definitely drank it. I can say that.
You remember that one with the carrots?
Yeah, I remember all that. I remember all of that, man. That was a fun day. That beer came out good, man. We drank, like I said, we drank a bunch of it. We put some in the barrels and we drank a bunch of it. So yeah, for sure.
Well, good. I'm glad it got put to use, my friend.
We gotta, like I said, we gotta return when we gotta make this Freaky Friday happen, man.
Agreed.
I want
So
that
you talked a lot about you know, you guys are having fun with your lagers, and the names are fucking great because
yeah.
you know there's a saying in the wine world where it takes a lot of beer to make good wine, because wine drinkers drink beer while they're making their wine. In the beer world, it's like it takes a lot of Pilsner to make good IPAs, right?
100%.
And we all drink the shit out of lagers, like you said. What do you guys think? What if you had to double down on a roulette table on a style that and it's a rhetorical question to some extent, but 10 years from now, what would you personally, Anthony, regardless of other love to see a style be like relevant in terms of like volume in America that you think's underrepresented right now?
Oof. I mean, I'm gonna go with what I like. I'm gonna say table beer. I think that lagers are always represented to some extent, and IPAs clearly have been, no matter what version of them it is, whether it's like West Coast or like old school East Coast or Midwest or hazy IPAs. I think those will always be prevalent. They always are prevalent. It's always an ever changing, evolving, moving thing. I would like to see more table beers be relevant. I mean, I always revert back to my love for Oxbow because those are the homies, and I love them.
Yeah.
But also, like, they continue to do that, doing other things as well, and making everything fire. But their farmhouse beers they're just dope all the time. Then Forest and Maine also has been putting out some fire farmhouse beers. Like, I love that style. So I would personally love to see 10
that
years from now, that be more of a thing that's going off. That's just on the regular, you know?
Right. Because you think of like what Oxbow's doing with like stainless aging saisons, and like how much complexity can you get under 5 ABV is an awesome like gauntlet to run through, you know?
Yeah,
and they crush it. They do it, and it's like, so it's crazy the variety of things that you can do with those styles. Like I said, there's just so many different grain bills, yeast, ingredients that you can use, and even playing around with a lot of the newer hops. That's something that I would like to see more. Is like some of like the more new age, West Coast and New Zealand and Australian hops, because the flavor profiles lend themselves well to the esters with the yeast and everything. I think that there's definitely some fun to be had with all of that. So.
Yeah,
I hope it happens. I'd love to drink those beers.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to take one more question from the forum. We're going to wrap it up and move on to the next beer.
Okay.
From Massachusetts, any thoughts on the classic hazy versus, the fruited, lacto-heavy, crazy stuff?
Has science gone too far? I mean, my thoughts, I think it's all the progression of beer and being exploring and having fun. And I've been fortunate to be around for 2 or 3 iterations of what the beer scene. I know you guys have probably been around longer for it and seen way more changes than I have. But I mean, people were doing 1,000 IBU beers and whatever, and I never had a problem with any of it. I think it's all part of experimentation. It's all part of growth. It's all part of finding what you can do with beers. You don't find anything new if you don't look for something new and you don't play with it. Are some of the things ridiculous? Of course, but ridiculous is fun and ridiculous is good. I just think that no matter what it is, as long as it's being executed well and it's being explained well what it is, then it's good. If somebody's making not good beer, then it's not good beer. It doesn't matter what style it is.
I mean, it's extreme, right? I mean, that's the definition that we put out there. It's pushing the boundaries. If you're not pushing the boundaries, you're not going to be able to innovate and see what's going to work and not work. Yeah, I agree.
Of course, and you live in there's plenty of people that are out here making traditional beers that are fire, and I love it.
Yep.
And everything is necessary. Like, you need people that are making hazy IPAs and perfecting it and doing it well. You need people that are doing really crazy things with it, because that's part of it. That's all part of their growth. So yeah, I love it. I think that all of it's good, and it's just
don't hate the beer.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but there's,
Don't hate the beer unless it's a poorly made beer. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like you were saying, Anthony.
If it's good, yeah.
There can be like
somebody doesn't
shitty
care.
Reinheitsgebot beers, and there can be shitty 20 ingredient beers, but there can be world class of both of those, right?
Exactly.
For sure. And when you watch people's growth, that's the thing is in this industry is where you have people that are making good beers, have good ideas, and they you know, we're experiencing people's and companies' growth as they grow and as they become more creative and as they do things or as they hone themselves in. So it's to me, it's important to remember that. I don't like have a bad beer from somebody and immediately write them off forever. I'm just like, okay, well, like whatever. I'll try some more stuff from them when I see it. And, you know, it could have been that beer, it could have been whatever, and they just have to find their footing. And it's time. Like everybody hasn't been a professional brewer forever or has everything dialed in, or they get a new system or they're working with new ingredients. It's tough. It's not always the easy thing. I think to me, what's important is as long as the brewery really cares about, you know, making good beer and you know, being part of a scene, whether it's to be social or even, you know, there's a lot of brewers that are not social. That's fine. They still want to make good beer and provide that for people. And all those things are valid and important. Like that experimentation, that wanting to do things like that is just part of what we all do.
Oh,
amen.
That's
Amen.
awesome. Yeah. It looks like we're going to wrap it up, but Anthony, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your thoughtful words. Good stuff there. And I'm with you with the table beers, man. I hope they
table beers for life.
Yeah, there you go.
Coming.
But yeah, someone, hey, if you guys are out there and you're checking in on Tapped, there is I don't know how it works, but there's a place you can go and our beers are all listed. It's Beer Advocate's Extreme Beer Festival. Cyberspace is the location, the venue location. So if you're checking in, you can use that. So just start typing out Beer Advocate Extreme Beer and it should show up. But yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you
again
guys
for helping out.
Good seeing you, Anthony.
Of course, good.
Cheers.
All right. That was awesome.
That was fun.
This beer is delicious.
It is. It's so like bright and citrusy. So it has like it has a weird and beautiful, like evocative mix of like a West Coast citrusy IPA and a hazy IPA. It's a great like midpoint.
It's the way it got into the box is unfortunate, but I'm glad it's in the box.
Me too.
That's really good.
How cool is it when other half is a sudden audible in a box as
the other half is the backup. I mean,
right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's pretty. It's
one of the most beloved, breweries with small geographic distribution in the country steps up for another small brewery like our boys at Burley Oak. Kind of cool, right?
Yep. Well, we'll see Burley again one day.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. All right. Okay, so next up, we are inviting a good friend of ours.
Wait, which is this?
This is Joe. This is Joe Short.
Joe!
Yeah, Joe's coming on.
Does he still have his fucking mustache? Let's see this.
I bet you he has to have the mustache.
All right, what does the label look like? I threw them all in here.
It's the super delicious stout. It's in the bottle.
Oh, yeah. Wait a second. It's in the bottle?
Yeah, it's in a bottle. Did you drink it already, Sam?
Wait, all right, wait. You bring them in because I don't want people to wait. But I got only Tommy's.
There's 3 bottles, including your.
All right. I'll be right back.
Right, we're gonna take a 3-minute break. Bye, Sam. Sort it out.
No. If you need to start talking with them, go. But I'm going. You grew up.
So I'm gonna let you. Oh, no. Hey, no share, but you can say hi. Okay. Okay. Come on over here. Oh, there he is. He's got the mustache. He's got the mustache.
Look what I found. Look what I
There it is.
found.
He's got it.
Getting a little worried.
Yeah, this is
Smoke
Hey,
it,
sorry, we
Joe
got a Charlie bomb.
Charlie Bomb in the house. Hey, Charlie.
the board game that me and Daddy are going to play.
Yeah, we're gonna play this board game after the show.
Oh, West Coast time, still early.
Yeah, hold on.
Apartment gave us this.
What's that?
What is that? Is that the characters from Saved by the Bell?
I don't know. We're
Joe.
playing this board game after the show.
Joe, I've already alerted 19 of our 14 lawyers about your use of a shark on this label. 19 of our 14 lawyers.
You just can't have nice things, you know?
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Joe, you're in so much trouble.
That is a fish.
Looks like a
Trout.
I don't know.
I'm
I
using
didn't
a
see that
fucking-
coming.
look what I'm using here, bro. I'm using a straight.
You can also use that to start your car by bridging the positive
Right.
and negative terminals together.
Okay. Okay, that's how I open my shit in coastal Delaware.
Yeah, good. That's real
Good
good.
to see your face. Good to see your face. Are you at home right now?
I haven't left in a year.
Isn't it weird?
It is.
Doesn't
weird.
it suck?
I just got Sam's text
I don't
message.
mind
He said, I found my shorts beer.
I did find my short spear.
Well, I'm
You don't
glad.
mind it? You're in a good place emotionally?
Yeah, I'm great.
Nice. How
Been a
far are
lot.
you from your ski boat right now, miles?
Probably 45
That's gonna be the hardest part.
in storage right now, but I think in one of these winters I'll just be able to just keep it in the water all year round and be in the wintertime.
I like to hope so. I think, Todd, aren't we supposed to do like a formal welcome and start?
Yeah, we're supposed to say, "Hey, Joe," you know. We're just hanging out. There's no formal crap going on with this whole show. So
This is Joe Short, people, founders of Shorts Brewing
they saw the screen. There was a screen and it said all this awesome stuff about him. So
No formality here.
yeah,
It's just like we
This is
bumped into
good.
each other on the floor at a beer fest, right?
I just want to say thanks for brewing a beer. Like a lot of the beers for this event were brewed for it. So this is awesome.
We like to start because people are cracking this open before we chat. So, Joe, start us off talking about the genesis of this beer.
Okay, so I'll kind of reference a little bit about what you were talking with Anthony about
What do you mean?
a little bit earlier. So one of the beers that I've been trying to bring back into the light, out of the shadows of IPA and sours, right?
Yes.
I wanted a nitrogenated 4.5 to 5.0% creamy oatmeal stout that we could have year round. And so we started playing around with it, and then we got the invitation for this. So then we're like, okay, let's take Super Delicious Stout, which was just going to be on its own without a shark on it.
Dogfish.
Totally different graphics, right?
Yeah.
But then our friends who have this farm distillery out in Thompsonville had been they've been working with a few other breweries in the area. So what they'll do is they'll take, they'll empty bourbon out of the barrel, they'll put maple syrup in it, they'll age the maple syrup in there, then they'll bottle the maple syrup, then they'll put whiskey back in there, then they'll pull the whiskey out and bottle the whiskey, which I have right here.
So
I saw that in the video.
Bitch, you bitch.
And then they empty the whiskey out, and then we put the beer in there, and that's where Super Delicious Stout comes in. So
you got the complexity of all those different things going through the barrel.
It's a lot.
but there's
going on.
one more step. So after they take the beer out, they put whiskey back in them again,
Shut up.
and then they sell. So basically 3 versions of whiskey in these barrels that have had beer and maple syrup in them. But yeah, ours is the next to last step.
And so did the grain bill and ABV of your OG version of this change, or did you just get that barrel treatment that got that?
We brewed a little heartier version of the oatmeal based stout, and then of course it picked up some points in the barrel.
Yeah,
but it's I wasn't sure what to expect. Sometimes you pull bourbon barrel beers out, and they'll be like super boozy, and I think with all the action that these barrels have seen, they're kind of it's a little mellower, which is nice because it flows in with the creamy sessionability, if you will.
What is the ABV? It's not super hot. Was it like 7?
I think so. I think it's like a medium 7. It could be wrong.
Holy shit, it's nice. Todd, what do you think?
Oh, I love it. It is super delicious. Did you name it before you tasted it? Did you know it was going to be super delicious, or was it after?
This is the beer I was building in the background before the Ironfish collaboration came into play. I'm like, we're just going to make beer. It's going to be super delicious stout, and that's what it's going to be, because that's what it is, right?
Oh,
we're going to call it what it is.
Yeah, and you're right about the booziness. It's there, but it's definitely not overwhelming that you see in other barrel age. It does have layers. I wouldn't say as many layers as you kind of talked about, but it's got layers.
Yeah, we're only part of a small part of the big pie of this whole project,
Gotcha.
which is really kind of owned by Ironfish, and they're doing some great things out there in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I thought Bel Air was in the middle of nowhere, but Thompsonville brings the middle of nowhere too.
That's where the distillery is?
Yeah, it's a 120-acre farm. And it had been abandoned for a while, and then this group of people came together and fired up a still and brought life back into it. It's great.
Do they have a tasting room out there so people can go, or is it only distro?
Nope, there's a tasting room. They've got wood-fired pizzas, and they've got what they call base camp right now. So they've got these little tent yurt type deals, and then little fire pits all over. It is close to a ski resort called Crystal Mountain, so there's some winter activity that you can do close by.
Yeah. So tell us what's new at Shorts, like as you guys are navigating the COVID bullshit that we're all navigating. What's new in your world?
For me, specifically, I've been working on. I've been living in Bel Air, very close to the pub, like about 100 feet away.
In one of your own buildings?
Yes.
Aren't you the largest landowner in downtown Bel Air right now?
I think that's a good guesstimation, yeah. I mean, for everyone's perspective, Bel Air is all but 2 blocks.
Oh, okay. I got to make it out there. I've been meaning to come out and, yeah.
It's a cool spot.
This year, it's not on the cards, but soon.
Well,
so you moved downtown versus when I visited you last.
So, yeah, we're in Elk Rapids, and we were basically our house started with a remodel and turned into a rebuild. So it was kind of if you've ever seen the movie Money Pit, that's what that story's been about. So I've been distracted over here in Bel Air, and with the COVID happening, being pivotal and creative and trying to generate commerce, what we did was we took the empty lot across the street from the pub and created the Kegger Campground. Kegger Campground. So
inviting RVs from across the country.
Nope.
No, I was wrong.
We built 12 campsites out of kegs. There's 80 kegs per campsite.
What?
There's three walls.
I'm coming over.
You got a big back
it's
wall.
It's like keg igloos.
I want to stay there.
Well, they're not enclosed, so we really went for the open air concept. So there's a wrought iron table and chairs in there, so it's 6 people, a fire ring. And my main job as of late has been processing firewood almost every day since December 28th. I have loaded in 38 face cords of wood into the pub.
Really?
And the wood sale, so this is all partnership through our downtown development authority. all the wood sales go to pay for the trash and the porta potties that are out there. And then we've generated about $8,000 worth of wood sales.
Oh my God.
Myself and a couple local volunteers, we just have wood splitting parties, and we're buying dry, dead ash as fast as we can find it.
And where are the people coming from across the country to stay there, or what states other than Michigan?
I would say, I mean, mostly Michiganders and people close enough to driving range. I mean, it's not like you're going to pitch a tent and stay the night. It's centrally located in town. We recommend that if there's a wait for the campsite, that people kind of hang out limit their time to about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we've got a sign with a QR code that will basically dump you into all the businesses in town. So if you want to order steak or hamburgers.
Right.
And then we've got Mammoth Distillery across the street. We've got Be Well Cider and Mead next door. We've got Hello Vino, the wine shop. So literally this 2-block walking.
It's all party.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming over.
Smoke billowing up from the city lights of Delaware.
I gotta say something, Joe.
Yeah.
You've been to a lot of our fests. You've had some great booths. Some of the best. I mean, you brought a half a car once, and that was the front of your booth.
2 halves of cars. Sorry.
So I gotta say, 2 halves of cars. I gotta say, I'm really disappointed with your background here.
You know,
we wanted circus.
Come on, man. I mean,
we deserve circus freaks or jetpacks.
Yeah.
We wanted jetpacks or circus freaks.
Where's the 2 halves of cars? Where are they?
So with the Zoom, you get to change your background, which I have a fun one that I use, but some of these other platforms don't allow you to manipulate your background, right?
No, I wanted that's not a thing.
Like real life, like flamethrowers.
Yeah, I want the real thing, not just some Zoom background, green screen stuff. So.
Well, I've been getting used to like these, 8 p.m. bedtime, so I didn't really have time to fire up I honestly actually thought about going outside and starting a fire.
Yes.
And I was like, well, it's going to be dark. I don't know if anybody's even going to be able to see me. So
next
I'll
time,
just stay in my pajamas and have some whiskey and beer at my computer workstation.
Are you in your pajamas? Like, can you stand up? Can we at least see your bottom
I got
torso?
pajamas on too.
Let's see what he's got, guys. Let's see his bottom torso.
I got Chewbacca.
Pants, right?
One or Chewbacca ones. I got Chewbacca.
Okay, Chewbacca and on the stair. Yeah, that's definitely like that doesn't have a normal zip waist. That's like an elastic waist situation.
I went snowboarding in these today, so it's basically been my winter uniform.
And we're going to take a question from forum, but first, I want you to tell everyone how you almost burned down the venue that you're at, the Cyclorama.
All right.
First EBF of shorts.
The inaugural EBF.
Was that your first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you almost burned down the venue. Go ahead.
Well, they were concerned there was potential to burn down this historic venue.
That's fair. That's fair.
But when you say extreme, then we go extreme. So that was the first year we did our s'more stout, and to capture the experience of the s'more stout was to use wood and burn wood, because wood has an element and an essence. And then you need to burn the marshmallow, because the caramelization and the char of that adds to the s'more sensation. And then you extinguish the burning marshmallow into the beer, so you get the char and the wood that goes.
And the sound of it.
So you basically had a flamethrower.
The crowd goes wild.
You had a flamethrower behind your booth, essentially.
So Jason and Todd came over. They were like, "Hey, this is great. We each want one of these, and then after that, there's no more."
Right as the festival started.
I think we were able to fire off, a good dozen or so before there was an awareness of concern in the air.
That's a good word for it. Awareness of concern in the air. That in the air was the smoke from your flamethrower, toasting marshmallows. That was good.
I remember it. That was the day I met you, Joe Short. I remember it well. I was like, I respect these motherfuckers.
Not as good as Scott's naked story, but it was a good story.
Scott Vaccaro, not your Scott.
No, Scott.
Everyone needs a Scott, right?
Behavior, yeah. So we got a question for you, Joe, from Rhode Island. Got to do some math with this one. So
I can't read that
I
shit.
think that's for Sam.
What is it? We are beer. I lost two.
I got to read it out loud, you guys. I guess you're blind. I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So the question is, it took me a while to find a couple of beers. That's fair. You noticed me struggling, but then I hope you noticed me recovering from that struggle and finding the appropriate beers. I do agree there'll probably be at least once that I don't find the appropriate beer, and I'll apologize in advance. But this is a beautiful beer that I'm so glad that I found. Look at the fonts. Look how old schooly these fonts are.
Yeah, it looks like it should be on a
felt T-shirt.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys do these in-house, Joe?
Yeah. So I've been pulling a lot of inspiration from like 1970s movies posters.
Yeah.
It's good with the mustache.
This one kind of has, to me, a what's the movie of the guys with all the gangs in New York? Warriors. It has a Warriors vibe to me for some reason.
Does it?
Do you remember the movie Warriors, where all the different gangs in New York?
Clink, clink.
Yeah. Warriors come out and play.
Come out and play.
I'll have to add that one to the list.
Oh, you
haven't seen that, Joe? You'd love it.
Hold on, wait. You haven't seen Warriors?
I haven't.
Get him off the show. Kick him up. Boot him off.
No. You got anyone watching that's not seen the movie Warriors? You got to see the movie The Warriors. It's like every gang in New York in getting ready to battle. It's pretty cool.
There's an epic moment with the beer bottles clanking together. Yeah, you got to watch it. All right, we got another question. This time,
another question for Joe Short
from Florida.
Joe, do you have a great story about a brewing mistake you've made?
I'm sure you do.
How much time do we have, ladies and gentlemen?
Try the veal.
Except for this one using the Dogfish head labels.
Your bestest mistake.
Well, I don't know if I consider a mistake. I think it would just be a try, because a mistake would have been serving a really bad beer that we tried to make that wasn't appropriate. It wasn't successful. I will say though, I think it was a well-executed beer, and I was thinking about this after the fact, because it would have been great for Extreme Beer Festival. Because
what year is this?
This was in like survival year number 2 or 3, like sink or swim year. And then the only beer that wasn't bad, like that didn't get sour, that we had on tap that was actually clean, but just too intense for most people to have, was smoked apple ale. And so my rule of thumb was like 1 pound of fruit per gallon, but with apples I did one bushel per gallon. So it was like mountains of apples that we took down the street to our friend Smokehouse Tim, who literally smoked them in a smoker.
Well,
and I remember
that's why it's called Smokehouse Tim.
Well, it's called smoked apple ale, but we do have a beer in honor of Tim, our late great friend Tim Waters.
Rest in peace.
Story for another time. So anyway, we cleaned off some brewing booths really good, and I put all these apples in a bunch of Tupperwares, and I mashed them with my feet.
With your feet?
Yeah, this is before we had stick blenders and before we knew stick blenders existed.
I mean, you could have just stopped with your feet, and that would have been the end of the story. So, but go ahead, keep on going.
But anyway, so long story short, that beer actually turned out good, like cleanliness wise, but it was just so overwhelmingly smoky and intense that it appealed to like 2 people, and they were in like every week, and they would buy like 9 or 10 growlers of it. And it lasted for like
guaranteed they had
a year and a half. Like it's on tap for like a year and a half.
Was it strong enough that it still tasted good that long?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to blend it with like people would be mixing it with other stuff just to try to cut it down. Anyway, but the worst beer, I would say like the The greatest attempt with zero success was the smoked apple bacon walnut bisque inspired beer. And of course, being a purist and a truist, I used real bacon and fat and all that other stuff. It just doesn't work good, you know.
Head
I
retention.
haven't gotten around to trying it again.
Did it stratify?
It was just like it just was a big mess. I mean, I probably could have used like what I had piloted and like the 10 gallons, and I probably could have dosed a whole 30-barrel batch with what I tried to cram into the 10-gallon batch.
I got a twist on that question, Joe. What's one that, as a creative brewer, you're like, let's just fucking push the boundaries, do this crazy fucking thing one time. No one's gonna like it. It's crazy. It's stupid. And then you're like, oh shit, people like this, and you made a ton of it, like a beer that you had no hope for because it was so crazy, and then people dug it.
Well, it's not crazy, but it wouldn't be my first choice. So we took Soft Parade, which is our number 2 selling product. It's a golden ale with blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries.
Yeah.
We had all this lemonade left over from another project. We were like, F it, let's just throw it in the Soft Parade. And then Soft Parade Shandy was born, and that took over like our number 3, or basically it was the beer that gave us the most incremental growth.
Really?
In the year you released it?
Wow. Yeah, it was just, it took over. And I was like, I fucking hate this beer. Like I really want Nicey Spicy to be our summer beer, and I'm still trying to get that to be our beer because I think it's the most refreshing beer in the history of the world.
Are you still making this beer though with the lemonade and all that?
We do, yeah.
That's awesome. You're like, so you're basically like that band that's like, oh shit, I gotta play this song again.
I gotta play Wagon Wheel again, man.
Man, that's awesome.
Nice.
But you know, it's just not a style. I don't even drink regular Soft Parade just because I drink IPA and Pilsner. But
yeah.
But
the crowd seems to
beer
love it.
universe is so great because there's a flavor for everything.
Amen. Like a snowflake. Everyone's different.
Oh, another
You
question.
got a question, Joe?
From Connecticut. Oh, yeah, he's getting coffee off of this.
And did you pour that into a glass that had coffee in it earlier? Didn't rinse it out?
I mean,
that's one idea.
Based on your stories, it could have happened. So, I mean, just saying.
You just may have, my guess is that you're a person who's probably picking up more on the roasted notes in the grain bill. Very similar features to roasted coffee. My best guess. And a lot of people's sensory is different, like where you might be picking up coffee, I might be picking up whiskey.
Well, as it warms up,
literally picking up whiskey right now.
There you go.
Yeah, boy.
As this warms up, though, that roastiness is really coming through. The booziness is kind of fading away. It's getting much more sort of coffee, a little chocolate in there. This is really super delicious.
One of my favorite things about stouts is that you can just start a glass and just leave it laying around the house and just kind of work on it throughout the day because it just gets better and different every time you take a sip.
Even as it warms up.
Yeah.
And I love Joe that you did this, super complex beer, and it's not, usually like whiskey or spirit aged stouts are like 8, 10, 14% ABV. I love this is like sippable.
17.
Yeah. I love
on the low end of the extreme beer for us. I mean, it might be the old man in me coming out, but I'm toning the ABVs down and increasing the volume.
Yeah.
Because I'm a thirsty man.
You are a thirsty man. If I had an adjective to describe you, Joe Short, thirsty.
With a mustache.
All right, here we go. From Delaware.
Woohoo!
How do we get folks introduced to stouts that are comfortable with IPAs and lagers? People are scared. I love them, by the way.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a stab unless one of you guys want to go for it.
You're
I use this all the time when I'm in what I call beer liberation mode. And when I say beer liberation mode, it's basically breaking down, maybe misinformation or trying to educate somebody for this exact reason. Because I think a lot of us in the beer world, we know those guys that are like, oh yeah, I drink, big burly beers all the time, I drink Guinness. Well, Guinness is 4.3%, but it's dark. And that has a psychological impact on a lot of people, where
it does.
Like dark automatically equals strong or scary.
Yeah.
And I've gotten more people to drink dark beer who claim to don't like beer. And those are my favorite people to talk to. And the majority of them being women.
Yeah.
Because, women that I've been in front of trying to tell the story of beer, it's always my favorite thing, because I'll get the husband or whoever I'm with is going to have this, but I don't drink beer. What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean you don't drink beer? I just don't like it. Well, what beer were you exposed to? And you're talking like industrial lagers of the 40s and 50s, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, are you a person who likes chocolate? Are you a person who likes coffee? And 9 times out of 10, women also, by the way, I feel like have a more broad spectrum of sensory, so they really can pick things apart. And they probably had a lot of gross beer. Maybe that's why they don't like it. So you give them something a little more complex that's not bitter, which is the other misnomer with dark beers. Like, they can be bitter, but more often than not, brown ales in particular are generally sweeter and a little softer on the palate, and actually easier to drink than Pilsners and IPA.
Yeah.
So I always try to break the gateway for the person who's asked this question, is like, bridge the gap as you just try to find out what kind of foods that these people like, and find a liquid version of that. So for me, it was like brownies, coffee, chocolate. Here's a beer that I think you might like.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, on that, being told we got to wrap it up, but wanted to thank you, Joe.
We love you, Joe Short.
And it's been great to see you guys.
We will. We'll see you.
Hopefully,
again.
we'll bump back into you on the festival floor here one of these days.
And the real,
in
I want
person.
to drink a real beer with you in a real room at the
go.
same time, brother.
In a maskless future.
Much love, Joe Short.
All right.
Thanks for
for
being
having
part of
me.
the
Thanks, Joe.
EF.
Thanks for joining us, man. Be safe. That was awesome. I love
nice.
Joe. I don't know.
Me
My
too.
video on my end is looking all split. Hopefully, it's okay.
Oh yeah, You're like a weird two.
I'm like split in like 2 people.
Oh my God, look at that! It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, I'll refresh. But this is a good point to do that. So we got 15
3
minute break.
How many minutes?
15.
Woohoo!
So go
Go to the bathroom.
go
Have
eat,
a glass of
go take a
water.
pee, go get some water, eat some food, jump on the forums, ask the question for our next guest,
Yeah,
Augie from Carton.
I love that guy.
Yep. All right. Break time.
All right, see you guys in 14 minutes.
All right.
Cheers.
We've been a father and son family-owned business for nearly 20 years. When guests walk into Halftime Beverage for the first time and see only beer and cider, they're in heaven. We were early adapters in pioneering a place specifically for people who loved craft beer and cider. Shelves lined with 4,000 to 5,000 choices, hundreds of styles, some 800 breweries from 80 countries. Craft enthusiasts appreciate intelligent dialogue with our cicerones. Our passion for the industry is front and centered. We keep abreast of the industry's growth, especially the local breweries in our own neighborhood. Our online website takes orders from over 38 states. We introduce new products to the marketplace with regular tastings, dinners, and festivals. At Halftime Beverage, our entire focus is on beer and cider.
Hi, my name is Sam Calagione, founder of Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. One of the things Dogfish Head's known for is brewing with exotic ingredients. Raisins, honeys, strawberries, scrapple, oranges, brown sugar, human saliva. If you can name it, odds are we brewed with it. But there is one old world style Dogfish has embraced, tweaked, and reinvented, and that's the Hop Forward IPA. Oh, do we have some news for you today, and it is oh so juicy. Introducing Dogfish Head's Hazy-O IPA. It is incredibly juicy, hop forward. No other IPA can say this. It's brewed with 4 different oat formats. These 4 concentric layers of oats deliver that hoppy bullseye in a way that no other IPA does. Oh, 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 milk Jenga!
Hey,
Oh, hey.
Okay!
Augie.
How are you guys?
What's up, man?
Hello.
Look at you with the
How
book.
are you? How are
guys-
you?
I got to get some books. That's all.
You're going to need some bookshelves.
I need some books. I feel like
was
a
saying-
foot, and then there's a wall.
I was saying to Britt, I was like, the big difference is my bookshelf has at least one book with both your names on it and 2 or 3 books with his name on it. There's no book in the world with my name on it.
Yet.
Yet.
Cheers, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. It's a
Let me
real
open
See
honor.
you, brother.
It's been too
How you
long.
doing, man? I miss you like hell. I miss you both.
Miss you too, man.
It's tough.
How you doing with are you still running?
Sorry, it broke
Are
up.
you
I'm
still
sorry.
running, Augie? Are you getting out for
Yeah,
run?
well, so this has been a cycling year.
Oh, really?
I'm in the basement on a trainer, and it's this computer thing called Zwift, and it's how I've stayed alive through,
Cool.
sane, right?
Kept you
Like
sane.
that nobody yells at you when you're like, honey, I got to lock myself in the basement for an hour. And, you know, so that's how I've been keeping myself sane in all this craziness.
Are you still keeping your place in New York City, or are you all in New Jersey right now?
I am not only all New Jersey at this point, I've left the Wall Street day job, which you guys know I kept for the first 10 years of Carton.
Yeah.
I don't know. As you know, I always framed it that I wanted to, I planned Carton's business model around me keeping the day job so I could make mistakes and not hang for them. But in reality, it's time for me to go make all my own mistakes. So
nice.
Speaking of, you got the beer.
It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. Come on.
Talk to us about
you guys bring out the worst in me.
I love the creativity of like a bottle label on a can. Talk to us about how hard that is to do at the brewery.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. It's pretty cool.
So luckily I don't have to do it, and I did catch shit for it and was told we'd never do it again.
Yeah.
But the idea was, so the OWC is our, you know, either wood aged or mixed ferment area, and those are always bottles, and this is that label. So we wanted to stay in that vein.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this format was no one's going to save it, right? It's for drinking here with us right now. So a can is perfect. Plus it's so much lighter to ship around and all that. So I was like, well, we'll do enough cans for the fest. It's, you know, no need for headspace, no need for cellaring. Nobody gets two, so nobody's going to wait. Everybody's drinking it live. Let's just put it in cans, but we'll use this label. And I think it looks awesome. My brewers have told me I'm not allowed to suggest we ever do this again.
So you're telling us what everyone that's watching, 1,000-something people,
not gonna
this is the only packaging of this that's ever happened?
So that there are some bottles. We did 53 500 ml bottle. We did 53 packs of those.
That's it.
Just, you know, for the neighbors. Yeah. It's at our brewery today. Hopefully it makes it a week. But yeah, so it's 3,000 or however many thousand of these cans, and then 150 little bottles. Because, well, you know, Sam, I need to know what happens to this thing in 10 years. So there has to be at least one bottle. And once you're filling one bottle, you might as well fill 100 to see what happens.
Sure, might as well.
So it's a beautiful beer. Tell the folks that are playing along at home about the recipe itself.
Yeah, I think it's awesome because I invited you. I think it was your birthday, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a stream?" And you're like, "Hell yeah!" And then like 2 seconds later, you're like, "I'm gonna take pineapples and I'm gonna grill them and I'm gonna drop it into this and that and I'm gonna oak age." I think you went back with like a couple of versions of it, and I was like, "That's it. That's the one. That's the money."
So what's funny, Sam, is you threw your barley wine in, but at the time, Todd said, we don't have a barley wine. I was like, all right. So I had just been tasting in the cellar, and there's actually, we were talking about the bottle of this. There's a bottle that is the one barrel that inspired this beer as well. So I had just been tasting around in the cellar with my guys, as you do, especially during COVID when there's a lot of free time. You say, we should go taste barrels. So we were playing.
Honey, I got work to do.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta check. But we were pulling nails, and there was this one. So we make a barley wine every 3 or 4 months, and mostly put it into barrels we've emptied. So that's a second use of carton barrels. The idea being, I really love these beers when they get old. A little bit of oxidization. If you smell this beer, what I love, by the way, I think
it's got a little bit of oxidation.
What I wanted to do. Yeah, so there was the opportunity here. So you know about, nobody knows that floor better than you guys. You got that 1 ounce, and you kind of need to be doing some high impact, chocolate thing. It doesn't really get to be. But in this world, I was like, everybody's going to be stuck with 12 ounces, or at least half the people at home aren't splitting. Yeah. So here's our opportunity to layer. So I had just tasted this one new peach brandy barrel, all schnapsy, and we'd thrown some barley wine into it, I think 2 years ago. And I was like, I was really pleased with it. It's kind of a fun combination of like high school party peach schnapps plus, you know, sherry, your dad, you know, Toblerone, some British dessert. And you're like, oh, this is all the bad mistakes I made junior year in high school in one flavor. And then Todd calls and says, hey, we got to, you know, hey, we got to do this. I was like, yeah, the world is upside down. Oh, I just had a barley wine that tasted a little bit like an upside down cake. Oh, that could be fun. And then Sam, you know, you've led me down this path for years, but that wasn't enough, right? We couldn't then be like, okay, so guys, we made a barley wine 2 years ago and put it in a barrel. Now we had to go extreme it.
Yep.
So to layer it up, we pulled because also volume, right? That was one barrel and we needed a ton of beer for this. So we pulled a whole bunch of similar barrels, I think 8 or 10 of them total, blended them up, went for some really old notes in there. There's some great, if you get in there first, there's like this Fino sherry, super stony, super oxidized dryness. And then it goes into a kind of more port world because of the fruit juice. Mm. But playing those wine things you can do with barley wine. And then the new and extreme and Carton culinary side of it was we actually made a fresh barley wine in a small tank. And we took a whole bunch of pineapples and a whole bunch of maraschino cherries and wood grilled them over cherry wood till they were all, you know, dark and roasty. Then we rolled them in sugar and bruleed them with a brulee torch. Then pureed that in a Vitamix, cooked it down on a hot stove till it was a third by volume of syrup, put that in to the wort and fermented that all dry to
and
kind of
to
come in and sell.
And added it to the old barrels?
Put that made fresh barley wine. So, you know, 5-week ferment. Man. And then blended that into the barrel combination.
Is that it?
That's what you've got.
Is that it? It's done. I feel like, you know, you just kind of like, you know, you just like, you didn't put enough into this one, Augie. You just kind of, you know, winged
Hold
it.
on. I can't hear you, Sam. It's making me crazy. I'm going to see if I can change.
I think Joe might have had maybe like.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing you, and it's making it hard to play this game. So I'm going to turn my headphones live.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. You're clipping out, so I'm trying to smooth that out.
Both of us?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hear you. I get the message. Your turn. We'll work it out. We're having a beer, gentlemen, for the first time in.
No, we are.
We're having a hell of a beer, a very layered beer.
It's a crazy beer.
Yeah, I love it. So it's funny. It's so funny though. You don't think when you're having this. Well, so later on, you'll therapy me on this, Sam, like you do for these bad ideas I have. But you don't think about it when you're on with Todd and you're like, okay, fuck. So we've got that, and that's already there, and then we'll layer into it, and cherries will be great, right? Because pineapple upside down cakes have cherries on them, so we'll add some cherries. And who doesn't like cherries? And then you make a 12, 13% bomb out alcohol beer with some cherries in it, and half the world goes, "You made Robitussin," and you're like, "God damn it, I did make Robitussin."
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, cherry alcohol, and God,
I had a cough. I had like a little cough earlier, and it's gone. So I mean, thanks.
Fixed it right up.
Yeah, thanks.
What is the ABV on this, Augie?
We did our best to negotiate it, and I think it's right around 12 and a half. But keep in mind, there's 3-year-old barley wine that probably went in around 10 or 11. Then and there's bourbon barrels in here. There's cognac barrels in here. There's
Charlie Bomb.
There's Charlie.
Thanks for coming. You made it way more interesting. I was about to get very boring.
No, never.
He's talking about layers of beer.
We'll play a board game with me right now.
So, Augie, the oldest is 3 years old, and the newest.
So there's 3 years, there's 2 years, there's 1 year. There's mostly when I do these, I try to put them into second use for us because I'm not trying to get them spirituous. I'm just trying to get them old.
Yeah.
But then we'll blend in. So some of these had been neutral barrel for 2 years and then cognac barrel for 1. And, pickup and negotiation. I think we're pretty close accurate at 12. But if we did a proper spectrum analysis, it's possible it's 13 and a half, 14.
Yeah.
Wait, possible is 13, 14, 15, 16.
I mean,
Beautiful.
25.
I don't have enough cans to test. I sent them all out to you guys.
Well, thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Augie, had you already been doing business with Halftime? I know your distribution's pretty finite geographically, but Halftime's just over the border from you in New York. Had you already done stuff with them?
No, this is our first time. Actually, Todd's article about that kind of set me on that path right before it, that I think, and I'd be interested in both your opinions on this, probably not during the fest, but down the road, but that this, one of the things that's going to stick from all this COVID-ness is that direct-to-consumer model.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm very interested in it. I don't truly understand it enough to know what I want to do with it, but this was a great first experience. Everybody, I mean, there was a weird random set of people that showed up with the beer like 2 weeks ago. I was like, how'd you even get this? And somebody got it in a Christmas pack or something. So I'm very confused. But largely everybody seems, I got a package from them outside.
Yep.
And by the way, I'll digress for a minute. Sam, I saw your old school in there, and I have a cellar full of old school from different visits down to you.
Yeah.
So last week I was on a Facebook Live for something they wanted to talk about this. But so I grabbed one of your old schools and one of my cans of this, sat down and did a 1 hour one of these with it. Don't do that, gentlemen. Back-to-back barley wines and a 1 hour Facebook was rare.
But you're saying this was Carton Brewery's first direct-to-consumer
first
experience?
time.
Yeah,
Todd,
this beer went to 29 states plus DC.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think, I don't know, New Jersey law, I mean, I know a lot of states right now are lobbying, and you look at like what our buddies, Vinny and Natalie just did with Russian River and how much more direct-to-consumer is happening. What's New Jersey's law? Can you do more of that?
So that's weird. And I've always envied my wine friends in California. And I know Vinny dialed right into that for a long time now, right? Because you could always get Vinny to send you something. By the way, another digression, Sam, we had Vinny on my show.
Yeah.
And your beer was the secret beer.
Okay. Yeah.
It was 60, and we both guessed it and made just insane. Like we started talking about it, how it smelled, and Vinny said, "Hey, Augie, have you ever had this next to a pool in Lewis?" And I was like, "I think I have." And then I nailed it. Anyway, sorry. So
I'm just saying. Still haven't been
Say it again, Todd?
I still haven't been on his show. I'm just saying.
That's bullshit, Augie. That's bullshit.
What do I do?
He's filmed at our festivals and everything. I was a guest once, like for 2 seconds. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You can plug your show, by the way. I'll let you do that.
Oh, I wasn't. I was saying Sam's beer guessed by me and Vinny, which I was very proud of. There's nothing better than when you can feel like you did something like Vinny. But anyway, so Jersey has terrible laws to get wine in, get any liquor. Like California can't send us wine or beer. Like Jersey has a hard stop on any shipping in.
Wow.
And I believe most of the friendly states have reciprocal deals, so we're out. There seems to be this list of about 14 areas people distribute to. Well, I know you guys had Tony on earlier. I was watching that, Anthony from Other Half.
Yeah.
So they've got about 14 states. So the leaders of this part of the world at my size brewery, like Trillium, Other Half, Equilibrium, they've all figured out paths. And they're kind of guiding me through a lot of what I'm trying to figure out from the Jersey perspective.
Yeah.
But like DC and Pennsylvania are totally cool with some weird restrictions on what you can send. And then there's the really kind of libertarian Western states. Like, I think you can send anything you want to Montana anytime you want.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure that out. But I mean, Sam, you've always been a big advocate of distributors, and it seems to be these guys like Halftime have done all the work. It may just be most sensible to go with them as long as you can trust that they handle your stuff well.
And I think Todd's probably the better seat for the perspective on working with Halftime and getting this thing. I mean, I've been friends with the Halftime guys for almost 2 decades, but this moment of putting this thing together was really Beer Advocate and Halftime. I don't know what you'd say about that, Todd.
Well, the Umbrella Next Glass, the parent company, they've dealt with this with Untapped, with us, and now with Hop Culture events. They've just been great to work with. I mean, they go above and beyond. The customer service is crazy, and I dealing with like almost 3,000 people getting these packages of beer. They've been awesome. But yeah, they've helped all of our brewers get into New York if they weren't already there. Non-binding agreements and all this stuff. It's been great.
So Augie, this is a beautiful beer. Tell us what's on the horizon for you guys as we navigate this COVID moment. Are you guys looking to do more distribution, or are you looking to get people or additional venues that you guys own? Like what's the world look like for your brewery?
So go on, get out of here. Get out of here.
Charlie Bone.
So we're
Go now.
We're
Papa Noogie, Charlie Bone, mama.
She's just excited because it says Charlie Bomb underneath it. She knows.
I see that. I see that.
I was like, okay, it's there. So really, as much as we've always really liked to fool around on the edges with things like this, and this is, a lot of where my thinking goes. We've also always been very careful. Years of working in restaurants, I learned you got to keep the neighborhood happy, because after the excitement of a new place dies down, your neighbors are who comes for dinner every Friday. And through this, we leaned heavily into the fact that we reminded ourselves of that the whole decade. And we benefit greatly from being in the most densely populated state. You know what I mean? So if you consider our neighbors, a lot of New Jersey or most of New Jersey, but I think kind of instinctively, I'd actually be interested in both of you guys, because I know how much we all like fooling around like this and drinking beers like this. But Sam, I always chastise myself when I come down because I drink 60. And it's been that kind of period for me as a drinker. And I think as a brewer the same way. Like, I always made sure I had a beer that I would want after a day of painting my house, because that's what most of my neighborhood wants to drink on a Tuesday night. Well, through all this,
what's boat beer as a percentage of your guys' sales right now? Speaking of a great satchel beer.
Boat beer is still locked in right at 30%. I won't let it go past that. I think that's dangerous, but it still holds that spot very nicely.
I love that. I love that beer.
Thank you, man.
So good.
But so like the lagers we've always fooled around with, we pushed up their production because people seem to be comforted by buying a case of beer and drinking a case of beer over 2 weeks instead of buying a 4-pack of beer and drinking it over one weekend. And it's got me in touch. I was saying, if you watch that video we made about this, I was mostly ignoring this creative side for all of COVID because I really just wanted to make sure the neighbors were happy, and that's how they did it. But that's been so great for us. To answer your question, my intention is as our 75% of our business pre-COVID was kegs of 077, our double IPA, in bars in New Jersey.
75%?
75% was just kegs in bars in New Jersey.
That's crazy.
Right?
There's a lot of people drinking this state. And we self-distribute. So it's us right to bars and friends and neighbors. Yeah. So that the good news is that step down, our own tasting room and all the, you know, already being positioned in cans and already having our cannula and all that. As the stores stepped up, you know, nothing's gonna make that even, but it at least kept us alive.
Yeah.
But right now, as we've, you know, just yesterday, our governor is now letting bars stay open past 10 again.
Saw that.
And he's added 3 more bodies per restaurant by going to 35%. But you know, it's right now my biggest concern for the next 6 months, a year is being a good ally to those guys who are our allies coming up and have had a even worse year than us.
Yeah.
So it's making sure when kegs are possible, we have the kegs to get to them and we're supporting them and making sure they've got everything they need to reestablish themselves. Because my biggest fear is we've all been to those states where no matter where you go, your most local option is a franchise restaurant that's only in 7 states, right? Jersey was a pub culture, and I'm terrified we're going to lose our pubs because all these guys are in so much trouble, and the liquor license situation here is so expensive. We'll end up with only Hooters and Applebee's can afford liquor licenses, and I'm not against either, but I want all my neighbors to be able to afford their liquor licenses and open their bars and sell my beer, and we can all get together. And, you know, I'll try to pick off a 60 tap handle every now and then.
Hey, on that, let's take, we got a forum full of questions. We're going to take some right from the forum right now.
Hello, people.
You're in the hot seat, Augie.
This is from your home state.
Oh.
Good question.
So what's funny is I'm going to do the thing I always yell at people for pairing with, right? So having put it all together and loving, so part of the process of fooling around with barley wine, from my opinion, is that you really can make it winey. And with the addition of these fruits, I really think we've ended up in a kind of tawny port Oloroso sherry level of wine loving. Yeah. And one of my favorite traveling cuisine moments is those unapologetic, absolutely evil Spanish and British blue cheeses like Cabrales and all those that like if you didn't have something sweet and pretty and woody like this to rehydrate your face after you threw it in your mouth, you would never understand why anybody would make that cheese. So at the end of a meal, I would put this next to that. You know what I mean? I just get like, just talk to your cheesemonger at your local whatever and be like, what's that blue cheese? It's just too goddamn meat. You know, what the Shropshire Blue or whatever it is out of England, like, you know, those. Yeah. And I would and I always yell at people. I like, everybody likes beer. Everybody likes cheese. Saying you paired your cheese to beer is not a hard thing to do. But I really want to eat a distinctly piquant blue cheese with this beer.
I'd do it.
I agree. That'd be beautiful together. It's such a complex, fatty beer.
So I can answer this one. So OWC is the label we make this under, and OWC is whatever you want it to be, Eric. I'm taking suggestions. You can go on the Carton Brewing part of Beer Advocate and throw it in there. In the wine world, when you're buying wine at auction, one of the things that makes it more credible or authentic, especially if it's vintage, is if it's in its original wooden crate. Yeah. And for some wines, that's original cardboard box. And since our symbol is the cardboard box and all that, I've always referred to the bottle stuff as, you know, the OWC stuff. So we've never decided what OWC stands for, and by not doing it, I've gotten much cooler ideas that I was going to get, like original something Carton and all these, you know, all these much better things than any acronym I was going to do. But I was always thought about the stuff we bottle instead of the stuff we can is the stuff in the original cardboard box. And that's the OWC joke. But the answer is whatever you want it to be. And then the label art, actually, it's on both. So this was an opportunity to fool around. I have one of my brewers. I have 6 brewers at this point. One of my brewers is Max, and he's an artist.
Nice.
And I said, Max, we're doing this one-off label for this one-off event. Good opportunity to go off-brand, right? Because we've always got those pencil drawings, and there's some scene, and there's all the highlights, Easter eggs hidden on every can. It's like, this is a great opportunity for us to break branding because it's a one-time event. And he put together this, and I think it just gives it a nice sense of motion and a cool kind of feeling, and it's pretty. And I liked it so much, I decided that all of the barley wines we bottle from now on will get some Max art on its label. So we actually,
nice.
I think I touched on but didn't get to it. What we did was bottle up that 1 barrel of the peach brandy barrel-aged barley wine that inspired this beer. So it came out today as well. It's called Ring Game, and it's got a different Max Mandala art on it.
But same like can with paper label on it?
That's in a bottle with a bottle label like it should be.
Got it.
Like I said, I'm not getting away with the can with the bottle label ever again.
You got it.
One-time event.
All right, we got another one. What were the barrels from Illinois?
So I don't have the list with me, and it's a bunch. And like I said, we double and triple barrel. Like, these are all things a better marketer would advertise. But most barley wine, when we get it, lands into a neutral barrel for a year or two. And we kind of like to see where it's going. And we don't have a strict rule. To get a little geeky, it's always Maris, usually somewhere between a 3 and 6 hour boil to see where it gets. I like to say that I wanted to move through popcorn smell in the brewery and on to, you know, candy smells, but after wheat toast. If you've boiled Maris for that long, you know these things. And then it's just, you know, we shoot for as high Plato as we can go without adding anything but the Maris. So sometimes we'll just do a real restricted first runnings and boil that down. Sometimes we'll let it go out. But, you know, anywhere north of 22, 28 Plato would be great, depending on what it is. Dry it out as far as we'll go. Put it in a neutral barrel. Not even look at it for a year. Come back and taste it, see where it's going, and then marry it up. And for that really oxidative kind of pheno sherry, stony, you know, thing that starts this thing off, we had a couple barrels in there that were just for blending, but they've been 4 cycles and purposely oxidized neutral barrel, neutral barrel, neutral barrel. So some of those would obviously have been rum and bourbon and other stuff we fool around with on other projects in our house. And then some fresh use in here. There's some cognac. There's a billet bourbon barrel. Mostly, and the other thing is I mostly like, because of the wine inspiration, if I'm buying fresh wood for that second or third flip, I like it to be a barrel that held a grape spirit, so a brandy or cognac barrel. Obviously, there's some bourbon here, but that probably means I bought 6 bourbon barrels when I needed it, 5, and we just moved a barley wine to it. So, you know, but Sam will tell you this is all just what happens when you're a small brewery and you're.
When you say all grape inspired, but it's distilled, or did you use?
Yeah, no
like
wine barrels, just
wine. Okay.
No, not wine barrels, but distillates of grapes. So, you know, cognac's only cognac and cognac. Everywhere else, it's brandy. Yeah. But grappa, we do Italian grappa barrels. We do California brandy barrels. We do anybody that's putting grape distillate into their barrels will buy those for barley wines. This one was a peach brandy, or the other one, but one of those is in here too. We found somebody offering peach brandy barrels and said, buy those right away. And
nice. We got time for one more from the forum.
Go ahead.
Oh,
it's funny. We just talked about this.
Yeah, we kind of touched upon this one.
I'll hit it real quick. The beautiful part about cans is they're static. If you're going to age something in a can, you're talking about 25 years before you're going to see the effect of aging. If you have a static 55-degree cellar and you're doing a proper aging, the amount of oxygen involved in a properly filled can, it will age, but on a glacial scale.
Yeah, very.
That's why we modeled some of this. Air gap in a bottle is what's aging what's in a bottle. And just like Sam's old schools and 120s in my basement, if he canned them, they're for drinking that weekend. So I'm not saying you got to rush, but I'm saying if you want to see the effects of aging in a can, you're talking about doing it at your kid's 21st birthday, not, not
next week,
not 5 years from now with your buddy.
Beers too before. That's another story.
I'm glad the sound fixed. It's nice to hear you guys.
No, it's good to see you, man.
Too, Augie.
Hey. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, guys. It was really
beautiful beer. The artistry you and your team put into this.
Cheers, Augie.
Blending process. Much respect. Much respect, brother.
You've always known where it comes from. Thanks to both of you for
comes from your heart.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Later, Augie.
I miss seeing that guy too.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
His passion is real.
Yeah, he just sent me some of not too long ago. Well, it was months ago, but he sent me some beers and some of the lagers, and I just they're so fantastic.
Right. With no agenda, just knowing that you would love them, right?
Yep.
I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Yep. And jumping full in. Sounds like he's going.
Oh yeah, he used to have the Wall Street job.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He was one of the last part-time, full-time brewers.
Yeah. Didn't really, announce that much, but yeah. If you knew, you knew. That's good. So yeah, we're moving into
now you know.
Yep, I guess we're moving into the next one soon.
Which is what?
It's from Great Notion.
Oh, Great Notion. You got a beautiful.
You better check.
Beautiful can by them. And they've done how many? They've been with us for a long time. EBF.
They've done a bunch of our. They've done some RFS. Yep.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest lines too. But
yeah, great guys.
I got to pull mine out.
All right, are we still live, or we got to break?
I got to pull the beer out of the fridge.
You do what you got to do. I'm gonna pee real quick.
All right.
Bye.
Hey, James.
Hey.
Hey, James.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Haven't seen you in a year and a week.
I know, man. It's I'd much prefer to run into in a line with a cup in our hands.
Me too.
Hey, what's up, Sam?
This is a beautiful label, James. This should be like stained glass in a church.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, your labels kill it. I'm serious. Like, you guys have some great work.
Is it always the same artist? I don't think it is it?
It is, yeah.
It is.
It is always?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me tell you the story about the art if you have a sec.
Yeah, please.
I guess we got some time,
huh? Well, we sit. Cheers, boys.
Yeah,
cheers,
hey,
boys.
cheers.
But yeah, I want to hear about the artist.
Cool. Well, first of all, I'll just say his name is Chad Eaton at Timber PDX. Timber as in like wood falling in the forest, at Timber PDX. So Chad Eaton is from Los Angeles, and right before Great Notion opened, we were kind of talking about, this was in 2015, we were kind of talking about just kind of like concepts for our marketing, for our branding. We're in the Pacific Northwest and have a lot of really beautiful forests and a rich logging history. And so I don't know, I had come across some of Chad's artwork just through basically Google Images, when we took over an existing brew pub that was going out of business. And it was in a really cool part of Portland called the Alberta Arts District. And I mean, we were looking for a location for almost a year. It's Portland is craft beer capital, right? So, breweries going out of business, you just don't find them every day. So we got really lucky. So Paul Ryder and Andy Miller are my business partners, co-founders. And anyway, Paul was at a wedding and he heard, a story about someone saying that, hey, I have a friend that has a brewery on Alberta Street that, he wants to sell. So Paul jumped on that, and we were able to set up a meeting and get into this really cool 7-barrel brew pub. I mean, it's all old, really old wood. It's been there for a long time. Kind of, it looks like an English pub,
Like what year did it open as a brew pub?
2015.
No, but like when you guys took it over, right?
Yeah.
So we took it over. Did it first be a brewery?
Oh, let's see. So that would have been. So they were in operation for about 10 years before we took it over.
Wow.
So we took it over in 15, and then we just, the guy who owned the place wanted to get out of the industry. He saw more potential in the cannabis industry, and he had a background in that. And so he was willing to basically sell us the entire 7-barrel brew house, everything in it, which had a cool little kitchen. I mean, we can only fit about 50 patrons inside. It's got a cool outdoor patio. So, so we get in there, and Andy and I are the home brewers, and Paul was like the business guy. We all live on the same street in Portland, Oregon. We're neighbors. We have kind of a cool story, like Andy and I would brew together, and Sam, I know you came from a home brewing background, so you probably appreciate this, man. Like, we would just brew beer together. I used to cut his hair, he would do my landscaping and trade. We were just buddies. And then one day, Paul, who comes from like a business background, walks down the street. He's
Tries your homebrew?
Yeah, exactly, man. He's like, what? Why aren't you selling this? What the, he saw opportunity to like right off the bat. He's like, yo, we got to get this going now. And we're like, damn, dude, you're really hyped up. Because we're pretty chill, And we're like, all right, cool. Well, we've heard a lot of people say that before, but do you actually have the capital? And he's like, yes, dude, I have the money.
He said whatever. He really say like, I have the
that's what he said. Because he came out of like financial background.
Yeah.
And not that he had the money personally, but he knew how to get the money.
Sure,
And that's Andy and I had no clue how to get money. Like we just didn't know how to get money to open a brewery.
At that moment when he came and drank the homebrew, did you already Google this artist, or was that after?
Right, Sam. Thanks for bringing that back. Right.
Well, I'm just trying to think the chronology here.
Yeah,
we had
totally.
the path we went over there. But that's good.
Yeah. No, I know that it's a real story, right? So we get open, and while we're waiting for TB permitting to brew, which can take quite a while, we were just operating as we were just bringing in draft beer essentially that we really liked, and you know, trying to get things started. And the artwork on the wall was brutal, man. So like we just like took everything off the walls. We painted, you know, we did what we could to freshen the place up. And I had come across Chad Eaton's prints. So I bought a bunch of his prints and put them on the wall. Fast forward a few months, you know, we have some beer. We're starting to think about canning, and Paul and I are I remember this moment very clearly. Paul and I are sitting at the bar, and we're just talking, and he's like, let's reach out to the small amount of fans that we have and say, hey, anyone who's an artist, you know, like, could you come up with some artwork for, like, say, Double Stack, which is our like imperial stout with maple syrup and coffee. And you know, we got a couple submissions, and we're like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then I remember him and I just like kind of like looking down and like staring at the paper or the bar or whatever. And then Paul looks up at the wall and he goes, what about that guy? I'm like, Chad Eaton? I was like, man, he's famous. He's not going to want anything to do with us, you know, because his at that time, and still is probably his main client is Element Skateboard Company.
Yeah.
And they're international company. They're super cool to work with. He really, you know, and I knew that, you know, so I was like, man, this guy is not going to want to deal with Great Nation. But man, Paul's like, that's the beauty of Paul. Like he's like, like before I could even stop him, he like sent an email. And the next day, Paul's like, yo, Chad wants to work with us, man. I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking cool. I love this guy's artwork. So that's where it all started. And all of Chad's stuff pre-Great Notion was black and white that I had seen, at least. So he started doing color work.
Including the stuff on the walls that you bought?
Say that again?
Including the stuff on the walls that you bought?
Yeah, that's all black and white.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just love it. It gives everything you do this sort of like beautiful consistency. You just know as soon as you look at it, Great Notion.
Yeah. No, man, he's so freaking good. And I just like, gosh, man, like I find myself, I feel like I'm an artist at heart and can create in a way that I'm proud of. But this man can create in a way that I've never even come close to. And I'll give you an example. Like, so we opened our Northwest production facility in 2017, and he came out and he painted by hand this mural that is probably 20 feet long by 15, maybe actually 12 feet tall. But he made it look so easy. So he just gets he gets a really nice projector, you know, and he pushes his art onto the wall, and he just goes over there and starts painting, you know. And I wish I could share a screen with you all. To the Northwest artwork is just unbelievable, but he makes it look effortless, and I definitely admire art in that way, because, you know, making liquid beverages and drawing or painting is completely different. Sam, are you a good artist, man? I'm curious.
I like you. I don't think I'm being pretentious when I say I think of myself as an artist first and a business person second. But when I see art like that and the facility that goes into doing that, I'm like, I bow to that, you know?
Yeah, same here. And what's rad about Chad is, like, I can send him an idea, and the next day, so he does it all on an iPad with a pencil. Is some type of app that he uses on the iPad. And that's just a rough sketch, and we either approve it or recommend. It usually doesn't need any changes, and then just thumbs up, and then usually the day after, it's a finished label.
That's crazy.
You know? Yeah.
Is this what, like, for scale? So we sent this to 2,700 EBF fans. Like, is this a very like low volume liquid? Like, how many barrels? How many barrels of that liquid?
So for batch size, this was a 45 barrel batch.
One time only.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe we'll brew it again, but we have a beer called Berry Pusher. I forgot. I wanted to show you guys my book.
Charlie. That's Charlie.
Charlie Bomb.
What's up, Charlie? Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen this book?
See something quickly?
Charlie, do you know this book? Look on the screen, Charlie.
Look. You know,
that book? Dog Man? It looks like the Big Boy Underpants artwork.
Dragons Love Tacos?
Dragons Love? Is same artist?
No, totally different. Okay, I'm not done. Hang on.
Wait, Charlie, look up.
You might like this one, Paint by Sticker. This is my favorite. She's like, I'm out of here.
She's out.
Why do you have those? Do you have it? How old is your
Switch over her Switch. That's it.
It's funny when I saw you guys talking about like you Augie had like a bookshelf behind him, and I was like, damn, like that's pretty cool. But I looked behind me and I had all these like kids' books behind me.
So Charlie's like 5 years old. How old are your kids, James?
They are 10 and 11.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ages.
Here's one cool book.
Todd, is it true? I don't think James has actually described this beer yet, has he?
No, we just been talking about other cool stuff, but this beer is delicious, man. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less, but
yeah, let's talk about the beer. I'm sure you guys are exhausted, man. You guys are troopers. I gotta
No way. I'm having a blast tonight. Friends.
Sam and I have been training decades for this.
Yeah.
You guys
this one to me, and I'm lucky enough, James, that my wife Mariah, who I grew up with since high school, her dad fell in love with Montana, and he went out and built this cabin near Big Sky, and we would get to do these amazing breakfasts in these like super rustic like pancake places, and to me this is what it fucking tastes like. It's like this like mountain. You're in the mountains and you're having pancakes, and you've drizzled it over the malty pancakes, both the fruitiness and the woodsiness of it.
As soon as I took a sip, I felt the log cabin building up around me, and I was like, somewhere have pancakes.
He's a New England boy too.
Yeah.
So tell us about this beer, James.
Yeah, so let's see, it's 11%. It's an Imperial Stout. The base is crisp Maris Otter. We tend to use Maris Otter for most of our Imperial Stouts, and we'll usually double batch.
Without us when you said 45 yield.
Well, I mean without sparging, we'll just do first runnings only. That's our normal process. If we really want to get a thick, really thick, like all the pastry boys want, I actually didn't want that for this beer. I feel like in some regards, like the thicker the beer, it doesn't always make it better, because drinkability, it always comes back to that, doesn't it? Drinkability.
It doesn't matter what you brew. Will you have another is the question.
Yeah. So I found with the boysenberry edition that it really, if it became too thick and cloying, that it could end up tasting medicinal, just from experience of messing around with like berries and dark beer. So this one was just a single mash we brewed 3 turns of it on a 15 barrel brew house, and then we added the boysenberry on day 4 of fermentation after kind of things got going.
But the maple's on the hot side?
No, we actually added the maple on day 7. So it's basically like fermentation was winding down. So we intentionally tried to dry it out as much as possible. We mashed really low, like 147, 148. And then, so I would say that, like, if I had to guess, like 80 to 90% of the maple's fermented. I think there's probably some unfermentable maple, but
surprisingly well attenuated, and it's like I thought it was going to be super sweet, but it's nice and dry. Actually, it finishes dry.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks, man. That's the challenge with adjuncts, right? It's like finding that balance where you can make a pastry beer that's not cloying. And I don't know about you guys, but like the lactose addition to a lot of the pastry stouts, while I love the mouthfeel, not only does it turn some people off from dietary restrictions, but it also really adds a sweetness that's sometimes tough to get past.
Yep.
It's great, like, if you're like going through a brew pub and you want to like do a sample tray and you want like an intense experience for like 4 ounces, but it's hard to hang with for a whole night, you know?
Yep. Yeah, or to finish a can, you know? Yeah. So you know, in the 16-ounce can format, like, you know, no one wants to save half a can of beer in their fridge. I mean, I've done it many times. It's always a little different the next day.
Right.
Hey, obviously this is packed with maple syrup. How much maple syrup?
So we're using about, let's see, in 7 barrels, we're using 15 gallons. So we used 45 gallons so about a gallon per barrel.
Okay.
And you guys, I love, as a, you know, when all my package came in, it was like Christmas all over again. I spent a ton of time looking at the art of every beautiful brewery's snowflakes. And I love, from day one, were you guys Great Notion Brewing and Barrel House, or did you add that ampersand and after you guys opened, or were you always Barrel House too?
Yeah, Sam, we always kind of wanted to have, you know, like when we started, we had a pretty big presence on barrel aged sours and barrel aged stouts. So, or at least a desire to, I should say.
Yeah.
So when we created our LLC, that's essentially what that was: Great Notion Brewing and Barrel House.
So right from day one.
Yeah, that was our intention. So we do release regular barrel aged sours. We haven't done any spontaneous fermentations yet on the sour side, but we have done bourbon barrel aged double stack, which has been pretty well received. That is a pretty special beer. I don't know if either of you have had double stack, but
double stack was at EBF.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
I had it there. I loved it.
Hey James, do you mind if we take some? So beneath all this, there's a forum going on. They're asking questions. You want to take some questions?
Oh yeah, sure.
Cool. All right, let's fire it up. So from Pennsylvania.
His silence means you're supposed to read it.
I just wrote that.
Just trying to figure out the content. So it looks like that. It looks like they've had a hard time getting maple flavor in beer. It looks like a home brewer. So what's your secret?
Yeah. So 2 things I would recommend is just, so one thing you could try doing is using amylase enzyme in your primary fermentation, so you can get your beer essentially bone dry. And then back sweetening with maple syrup. So that's one thing you could do. Dehydrated maple syrup is pretty cool too. It has a concentrated flavor that I like a lot.
And when you say, James, for homebrews, back sweetening, you mean post-secondary ferment or where?
Yeah, post fermentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
With the yeast removed. Yeah.
I see how you've navigated the pandemic. Changing your beers or no, or is it just the same?
That's a great question, man. Like it's been really hard for me, particularly because I run our small brew pub. It's a 7-barrel brew pub, but we have a 30-barrel brew house, and we're on track to do about 10,000 barrels in 2020, and with our expansion, probably about 20,000 barrels in 2021. So we have, a nice capacity to make things happen. But I'm sorry, what was the question? Does anyone remember? Oh, let me see. People were talking about Dragons Love Tacos. I'm sorry. That's a good book. I'm sorry, I fucked up that.
How has the pandemic changed the way you?
Oh yeah,
your
Todd,
beers.
thank you.
No. Thank Brett is behind the scenes.
How has it? Okay, so here's how. The pub used to be full of people, right? It used to be this beautiful experience of smiling, happy faces and families, and everyone's eating dinner and drinking beers and stuff. And in my environment, not the production facility, but my environment, that doesn't happen anymore. We're closed, right? So we now moved into a mobile canning situation. So we are essentially a production facility, and that's kind of hard, right? So I'll make a beer, and it just, people come and they buy the cans and then it's gone. There's no soul. There's no soul to it. There's no like sitting around and laughing and enjoying. I mean, that shit breaks my heart, man. I'm like lost. Like, please bring this back. The pub environment is where it's at.
Yep.
And so you guys use a mobile canning that comes to the 7-barrel brew house because the bigger brewery's too far away for you to like put your beer in like a Grundy tank or something and ship it over to there to package.
Yeah. The production brewery that's a 30-barrel brew house.
Yeah. And
we have some 30s, some 60s, and some 120s over there.
Yeah.
But our canning line is just maxed out over there. So to be like, hey guys, I want to send some seven barrels of something over there for you guys. They'd be like, no. we're good. So mobile's the way to go. But it's hard, it's just like, it wasn't why I wanted to get into this, to be in a production state of mind. I have always enjoyed the social family aspect of things, where people are really enjoying a meal and the kids are running around, and Sam, you have brew pubs, and I know we'll get back there, but
we will.
It is the pivot that we all had to make, right?
Yeah.
I will say, Sam, I want to tell you that I'd say it was, man, I can't remember the year, but it's probably been 8 years ago. My family has a beach house in Cape May that they hang out. Oh man, we took the ferry across the bay, and is that Rehoboth then?
Yep.
Rehoboth? Yeah.
Our original location. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had the Randall on the counter.
Yeah.
And that shit blew my mind, dude. It really did.
Were you already a professional brewer for that?
No. I was a home brewer. And but my brother, who lives in Boston, shout out to Matt Dugan, who has been my companion at EBF every year. He lives in Quincy.
Yeah.
And we went over with my dad. My dad's helped pour at the booth a few times at EBF too, which is rad. And my mom did last year, which is awesome.
In Boston?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you mentioned that last fest. Your mom was there, right?
She was, yeah.
Pretty awesome.
It was killer, man. It was such a rewarding experience. And thank you, Todd, so much for creating that environment, honestly.
Well,
you really don't know what that means because you are the flea in the rug, right? You can't see outside of that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can, but I can tell you that from an outsider, how much it means to create those kind of experiences for someone like me and my mom to be able to pour there,
we'll create them again. And
you
and the entire group, you guys have a standing, invitation to our vests. So
hell yeah, man.
Anytime you want to come back. So
I love it.
We'll be bugging you.
And we're hoping, right, Todd? We're hoping that we could hopefully be in person, hugging it out with James and whatever family members you want to bring this fall of this very year. That's our hope.
We'll see. Q3, Q4, who knows? I mean, things are so up in the air right now. But we will get back there. It'll be in the next year.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, I love you guys both, man. You both are inspiring to me. Sam, I have your books, dude. Like I read them before I was a professional brewer. And Todd, man, I traded on Beer Advocate for so many years before, honestly, your forum for trading, like, built upon my ability to get like heady topper and start, culturing that yeast and
it's really cool.
understanding like what a hazy IPA was. So you definitely have been instrumental, both of you guys, in just moving forward, like the evolution of craft beer. So yeah, cheers to both of you guys.
Degrees, brother. Much respect. Thank you for the inspiration.
Thank you.
This beer is beautiful. Man. This is a beautiful beer.
It's a gorgeous beer.
It's like a black hole of depth.
Yeah.
I love that.
Surprising how drinkable it is. Like I keep on taking sips, and I'm gonna end up on the floor soon, but it's all good.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. Seriously, it's been really nice to talk to you both. And until next year, right, when we can get together and do this in person.
Yeah, actually, I've got some collabs.
Maybe late next year. What, Todd?
I got some collabs of yours, James, with Crowns and Hops, still sitting in the fridge.
Oh, dude! Oh, that's rad, man.
Yeah, they're gonna be on. Tio will be on tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
I love that, man. Tio's the best. Yep. Pushing diversity in craft beer, man. We need more of it.
Amen.
Indeed, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks, James.
Heck yeah.
Am I
the last of the night?
You are, yeah. But please, I hope you tune in tomorrow.
Oh, I absolutely will. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll talk soon, though.
All right. Talk to you guys.
Much love, brother.
Yeah,
I'll
much
see you
love.
in person,
Cheers,
hopefully this fall.
Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, man. Awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah, I was at his booth at Extreme Beer Fest, this last one in Boston. His mom was able to get in pour as well. It was pretty awesome. He was stoked.
Didn't he also do the LA EBF? Did he?
Know what? I want to say.
I just feel like I love every time I see that guy. I love him.
Bridge just confirmed he did. So he was in LA. Yeah, I remember now. We went over to their booth and they had this massive.
Yeah.
But remember 2019 Boston, 12,000 people at Extreme. Yeah. They had one of the biggest lines. It was colliding with other lines. It was huge.
Yeah. And he has great humility, and it's a beautiful mix of creativity, humility, and pride.
Yeah, his approach to beer and just community beer is just awesome. I love it.
Respect.
Yeah. Well, so I guess we're, we could hang out all night if you want.
We did it. We did it.
Session virtual done in the books.
That was a fun first night, right?
Yeah, but thank you, Halftime, Shorts, Carton, Great Nate, everyone, all the brewers tonight, Augie, everyone. Other half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony.
So good. We were supposed to, I looked over at a thread. I tried to kind of plant the seed about like bombing people's Zoom parties.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I might just create one. See who shows up.
You're starting a party.
Yeah,
we didn't start the fire. Was always burning. The kids don't know that song. Billy Joel, people.
Yeah.
But so we're not gonna like. If I had 10 minutes to go on an internet journey with you, where would we go?
Oh, like Claire. Yeah, they're
look
like.
Look at Claire. She knows it. She knows.
Like, yeah, she's like, keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going, Claire. Come on. Keep it going. Just more words. No, but everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. I know this is all different, weird. We should be somewhere else. We were going to
be together.
Well, this was going to happen in Brooklyn. Extreme was going to be in Brooklyn back in September. We were trying to do LA as well, and we got some other places on the map for Extreme in person.
Yeah,
we will get there. But I hope you all tune in tomorrow, same time frame.
Yes.
See right up there. Look, merch.
Oh yeah, look at that.
There you go. Get the shirt. Applies to all gear too. So there you go. But yeah, Sam, I might send you a link. Maybe I'll start up a Zoom and drop it in and bomb. We were gonna bomb people. I don't see any links. There's only one link, I think.
Yeah. And mad shouts to the Fest crew.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right?
Talia, Britt, Claire, thank you very much. Behind the scenes, making it all flow.
Come to life.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to the boys' room, Todd. I'm not going to lie to you. I go to the boys' room.
All right. Well, I'm going to send you a link.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go to a Zoom.
Yeah.
And if you want
send it to me,
you can show up. I think everyone on this should show up too. I think we can only fit a few hundred, and then it'll stop. But
let's see what happens.
Let's grab a beer. Well, no, take a pee.
Everyone have a water, pee, and meet us in Todd's linky thing.
I'm going to send an alert to everyone. We'll see what happens. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam.
Awesome.
Thank you, Halftime. Thank you, all the people, my coworkers, for making this happen. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you all for tuning in.